Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good pal Dylan, and we've reached the quarter mark of the NHL season. We're only a few days away from American Thanksgiving. I think if we recorded the podcast a week ago, the vibes would have been super immaculate with the Blackhawks, but all in all, right now, I think it's been a great season for the Hawks, or a great start to the season for the Hawks, even with them losing three in a row. So how are we feeling at the quarter mark of the season? And how was the Leafs game last Saturday that you got to go to when they beat the Leafs?
Yeah, Leafs game was a lot of fun. We had really good seats. The game was great. Thought, there really wasn't much to. I thought the depth really showed up in that game. I thought that was Levshinov's best game as a pro. He was all over the
Oh
place
yeah,
that night. Um, Vibes at the UC were awesome. They had a lot of former Hawks there for the centennial
Crawford.
celebration. It was, yeah, Crawford, Sharp, Savard. Then they had like a pregame ceremony in the atrium as well. We caught a little bit of that. Just missed out on the bobbleheads for Esposito. Should have left like 20
No,
minutes earlier. But
darn.
yeah, that's all good. And then yeah, I mean vibes with the team. It's a mixed bag right now. Uh I like their response Sunday against Colorado. Obviously we'll talk about the Buffalo game, but I want to talk about the first week. They had that tough loss against New Jersey a couple weeks ago, and they came out responded against Toronto and Calgary. Bedard has a hat trick. I think he has points in every game except two, and that includes the shutout. So, and since we last talked, he's still on fire, 31 points. We'll probably talk about him later as well. But I mean, the pivotal turning point, we got to talk about it. The Seattle game, it just that the old habits are starting to creep back in a little bit. They are on a PDO bender. I know that was like the whole conversation, and but that game, you're up 2-0 going into the third. Those are the games that you gotta. Those are the games that are going to cost you later on in the season. Obviously, this isn't the season that they're looking to contend, but with the start they've had, you're in a pretty good spot, and those 2 points will matter down the line. And unfortunately, Seattle's a team that when they play their style of hockey, they've kind of had the Hawks number, and they had a strong third period, and then the phantom call on Bedard that didn't get called, and Bedard, it's a learning experience, but at the same time, you just see so many penalties get called. He hooks him on the hands on a breakaway; it's an automatic penalty, but you also can't get in the ref space and tell him what the fuck was that. So, it's
Mm-hmm.
learning lessons here and there, but that's just such a backbreaker. And it clearly showed because the next night they had no energy against Buffalo, and they
Lifeless. Yeah.
rightfully got punched in the mouth. That was their worst game of the season by a country mile. Every time they got one goal, Buffalo got two, it felt like. So um, we can talk about the decisions from Blashill to keep Soderblom. I personally am not a fan of that. I think you just shot the kid's confidence. We'll see next time he starts, but he just had 9 goals let in him. And there was a point in the second where the team was giving up on him besides Bedard and Bertuzzi, and clearly he was giving up on himself. So I don't want to see Soderblom's confidence shot, especially when it just took him a whole season to get it back. So that'll be interesting to watch going forward, obviously. But they had a great response in Colorado. You know, the thing that we're going to have to start talking about with this team is now that we're starting to see them turn a corner, they have to play a full 60 minutes, especially against these good hockey teams. Because, at the end of the day, that second period, they were just waiting for the dam to break. And all it took was one goal from Makar, and that was the difference on Sunday. And, Wedgwood, I thought, played well, but at the same time, you got to bury your chances that you have, and especially a 1-0 game where Spencer Knight's basically playing lights out and Bedard's out playing McKinnon head to head when their lines face each other. You'd like to see a win there, but you got to look into account. Injuries have definitely been a factor with this team over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Burakovsky, Bertuzzi was out for a bit. Dickinson just got back. But yeah, overall, if you let's put it this way: if you at the last five are saying they're going to go 3-3-1 in their next seven, I'd probably be like, okay, that's not bad. But the way they got there, it does sting a little bit, and I think there's a world where maybe they're 5-2-1 or 5-1-1 or 4-2-1 or something. And that Seattle, if they win that Seattle game, I think we're looking at this a lot differently. But they didn't. So you're 2 points out of a wild card spot, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts now because I just wanted to go general on the 7 games, I think, and then we'll kind of jump into specifics.
Yeah, it's we've kind of talked about this with fans who are such prisoners of the moment because if you tell us that the Hawks have the record that they do now, it'd be like, oh, that's awesome. Because the last few years, when they've reached the quarter mark near American Thanksgiving, whatever measurement of time you want to use, this is usually when the team just 18 wheeler off the cliff. And then it's like 2 or 3 months of, oh, apathy. We got to go through this again. Oh, they lost another game. At least we're now at a point where it feels disappointing when they lose games. And that new again, like you tell me before the game that the Blackhawks are going to get a point out of the New Jersey Devils. That's awesome because the Devils are one of the better teams in the NHL, but they had multiple leads. I think they led 1-0, 2-1, and 3-2. Like they had the 1 goal leads, but they just kept giving it up and then they lost in overtime. And that's a game where you want to get 2 points out of it, but also with the way they played that game, I felt they probably should have got zero. So maybe a point is appropriate, but still, you take a point against the Devils. And I think the big thing for me is, yeah, you can lose games, you can look bad in a game. I think the big thing for me is how do you respond? And they were able to respond by beating the Leafs and beating the Flames. And those are teams you got to beat at this point because the Leafs aren't very good. They were down 2-1 and they came back in the third and won that game. I mean, I don't really have to tell you that, but I bet the atmosphere of them coming back in the third was amazing, and being there to watch that was a lot of fun. And then them beating the Calgary Flames, they're up 2-0. They gave those 2 quick goals. And I think my favorite part of the early part of the season so far is just Connor Bedard has squashed any bad narrative around him the last couple of years. I think it's so well, just last year, but I think it's still so disrespectful that they were calling Connor Bedard a bust, or oh, he's not going to live up to expectations. Oh, after getting 67 points again, if that's the worst Connor Bedard can do, then holy shit, we got a special player here, and he's on pace for 50 goals right now. I think he's on pace for 150 points. He's been super special, and so is Spencer Knight. He's at the top of the NHL in save percentage. He's giving this team a chance to win every game. And not that I think he'll be the starter for the States in the Olympics, but I think there's a very good chance that he could be the number 3 goalie because that's probably what Hellebuck, Onger, and then third is up for grabs. I think they sent Swayman there last year. And then, yeah, Connor Bedard. At this point, if him and Celebrini aren't on the team at the Olympics, hell, throw Matthew Schaefer in there as well. That's another whole other conversation we can have. I feel it'll almost be disappointing, but yeah, it's Connor Bedard, it's Spencer Knight, Frank Nazar. I not that he's been bad, but I think my whole thing with this team is not that they've necessarily been bad, but I think there's still a lot more that we can expect out of these guys, and I almost think like to be hashtag positive Pierce that they have this record, but I still think there's more that they can get out of these players. Like Sam Renzel, it's definitely been a struggle for him, and I remember talking last year when he came out on the scene, he just looked like he's been in the NHL for at least 5, maybe 10 years. He looks so poised, and now he's kind of scuffling right now. It looks like he's having some confidence issues. Like he doesn't look as poised as he was with the puck. Just a lot of uncharacteristic turnovers, and I wonder if it's time for him to maybe go down to Rockford for the first time. He hasn't been to Rockford yet because over the years, Rockford has been a beneficial place for all their young defensemen to develop and refine their games there. You think of Alex Vlasic, think of Wyatt Kaiser, Kevin Korchinski is doing well in the AHL right now. And I just think of that Colorado game. If they have Andre Burakovsky on the first line with instead of Ryan Green getting those looks, they'd probably win that game. So I don't know how I choose to view it. Yeah, it sucks that they've lost the last 3 games, but I still think that this team could get better. And the fact even last week we could be like, oh, this team we always talk about it come American Thanksgiving. If your team is in a playoff spot, there's a very good chance that you're going to make the playoffs. The fact that we've been able to have the conversation that we can be delusional that this team could battle for maybe a wild card spot, it's awesome compared to previous years.
Oh yeah, can't complain about the spot they're in at all. I mean, they're on pace for, I think, 90 points or something, which is, I mean, if you told us that, like we were
Yeah.
looking for half that. I feel like if they were in the 70s, I feel like it would have been a step forward, But that's the crazy part, Like obviously Bedard is just did everything that he was touted to be in 2022, 2023. We are seeing it firsthand, and I still think there's another level of untapped potential just because he hasn't played with elite line mates yet, and that really does matter. I think like you'll see that if he goes to Team Canada, you put him with someone his speed, it's going to be electric. And Spencer Knight just blowing all of our expectations out of the water. I believe I mean, we had the belief he was going to be a starting caliber goalie for the Hawks, but I mean, I think the only thing I could say is I wish they signed him for 8 and not 3 years. I
Yeah,
mean,
no kidding, huh?
he's gonna good for him. He'll get a payday. Hopefully, it's from us in 3 years. But he's just been such a revelation in the net, and he's been the most consistent goalie they've had since Crawford. Has the potential to be one of the best goalies, and that's worn a Blackhawk uniform, and that's saying something. Guys like Tony Esposito, guys like Ed Belfour, Glenn Hall, Dominic Hasek,
Yeah.
they've had their fair
Whatever
share
happened
of
to
really
them?
good goalies, and Knight can potentially join that crop. But I did want to go back to Renzel for a second because it kind of goes to something I do want to discuss with the Blackhawks. I've about had it with the 11-7 experiment. I don't think this is benefiting anyone anymore. I think their losses are showing that the forwards are getting tired out by this structure, especially if someone gets hurt. And with the way this lineup's been getting banged up, you really don't want to run 10 forwards. And sitting a night for a guy like Renzel or Levchinov, I don't think is sitting anytime soon. He's their second best
No.
defenseman in my opinion. But Grizzlick, Kaiser, there could be a night where he needs to sit. Crevier, there's a night where he's probably going to need to sit. Like I think you can rotate these guys, or just make the decision, like you said with Renzel. If you want to make that call to send him down, you can. But I just don't think. I don't know. I don't think he's I want to come to his defense because he has been playing in a shutdown role with Alex Vlasic this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And like his role has gone down a little bit. He's been hovering around 13 to 15 minutes the last 7 or so games. And that's rightfully deserved just because of his play. But you look at the situations he's being put in, he's still being put in very tough situations. He's still playing a lot of penalty kill time. And I think the fact that, with all these woes and him having a bit of a slump, he's still +2. He's starting to pick up some points. Buffalo, you want to just throw that game out. That was his worst game as a pro. But, on top of the offensive potential, you can see the confidence starting to come back a little bit. And, Crevier being a revelation on the right side helps. But at the same time, like you need Renzel to hit just as much as you need Levchinov to hit. So I think you got to give him the opportunities. And, at the end of the day, they're going to have to trade Connor Murphy or Matt Grizzly. I think this is what this is going to come down to get these guys the minutes they need. And it's nothing against Murphy. I think Murphy's played very well in less than minutes this year. And same with Grizzly. Grizzly's been a revelation. He was a PTO. But at the end of the day, the kid's development has to come first. And if you're scratching Renzel or giving him 12 minutes a night, he's not helping anyone, in my opinion. Or they could just be trying to, boost Crevier's trade value and trade him for Mishkov. I don't know. Just something stupid. Sorry, the illusions are kicking in again. Had to shut them up. But the back end's back end's been incredible, and I just wanted to come to the defense for Renzel because I think we're going to start to see a corner get turned here pretty soon. And Levchinov, I mean, he's everything you could have imagined him to be. I mean, we talked I think you and I talked about it ad nauseum. Like if it worked out, he's a hybrid of a McAvoy and a Heiskanen in terms of the skating with Heiskanen and just he's way stronger than he's given credit for on the puck. And he's able to knock people off with ease. He's able to basically get burnt and catch them on the rush, which I can't understate how insane that is. Like there's the game against Nashville, he caught Heischer on a breakaway after he missed a pass from the point. And it's just like that type of athleticism you can't teach. And he's gaining the trust from the coaches. Him and Kaiser, I think, have amazing chemistry. Kaiser knows exactly where he's going to be, which is crazy because if you watch this kid play, I don't know where he's going to be half the time. I mean, he jumps in on the rush. That first goal's coming. I mean,
he's so due.
Yeah, he's so due. He gets so many chances in the net front. And, at the rate it's going, he's looking every bit of that number 2 pick. And Demidov's been great, but that draft class overall is looking really good right now. Outside of Caden Lindstrom, which. That's a freak situation.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into that. But, I mean, Celebrini, lights out. He's fucking incredible. Levchinov starting to put it together on defense. Playmaking's there as well. Seneca's been very underrated. And then, obviously, Demidov's just been, electric when he gets the chance to even get on the ice.
With Levshunov, I think if he has even 2 or 3 goals, we're talking about him being in the Calder conversation a lot more, I think.
Oh, I agree with that. And, this is a guy who's probably going to get like 30, 40 assists this year just from the way he's being deployed. And, another shout out to Vlasic, too. I know his goals are coming in blowouts, but he's becoming very active in the offensive zone and really showcasing that skating because everyone knows him for his reach and his defensive prowess. But this is a guy who used to get a shorthanded breakaway every other game a couple years ago. Like he's got athletic and offensive ability. So I like to see him jumping in on the Rushmore because that's another guy who, he had 30 points last year, and I think he could very well do that again.
Absolutely. And yeah, kind of to go back to Sam Renzel, not that I think he's particularly been awful, but he hasn't been great. I just think, like, again, going back to last year, it's such a small portion that he played. I think we just need to ease up on this guy is a 21-year-old defenseman, and it's not going to be smooth sailing for the entire season. And I don't think we often associate a player being scratched as a really bad thing. And I think sometimes it's good for players just to take the night off and watch from the press box and maybe eat some popcorn.
Yeah, it worked for Levshunov. I mean, he got scratched early in the year, and I think it really did him justice. And, you know, we'll hope the same happens for Renzel. I think we're seeing some signs, but um, it's something that you couldn't say about the Hawks a couple years ago. They have too many defensemen right now.
Yeah.
I can remember a time where it was like Jack Johnson's the fourth best defenseman on the team. So it's a
Oh,
good
man.
problems to have. It's good problems to have, especially when your forwards are dropping like flies. So now you have capital if you need to, maybe go get a forward, which you might need depending on how these injuries go.
Yeah, and that's again, like you said, that's the good thing about the defense is that Sam Renzel maybe not being at his best what we thought he could be is not the end of the world because Lev Shunov has really elevated his play. And Louis Crevier, I don't know how much you want to get into him. He's kind of been a revelation for this defense, and Vlasic and Kaiser have kind of just been steady. And when they've been running 7 defensemen, Grizzly and Murphy, they've done well in their limited amount of time. But yeah, with the amount of injuries that they're having, like I think it's good to run 11-7 every now and then, but if you're doing it every game, I just don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah, it had some success early on, but at the end of the day, you're really just tiring out a lot of your forwards. And, we talk about it all the time. The rookie wall is a real thing. And a lot of these guys have not played a full NHL season. So you look at guys like Doc and Green and Moore and Nazar, there's going to be bumps in the road, and you can't overplay them in situations like that. And I think, even if I don't think Landon Slagger's lighting the world on fire, but
No.
if he's taking 10 minutes off to where, you can have 2 stronger minutes from Bedard or 2 stronger minutes from Nazar or be able to deploy them a little bit better, I think that helps out in the long run. Just a long season. We're only a quarter of the way through. Last thing you need is these guys to get in their own head, get in slumps, and the season kind of goes downhill from there. Like I know Nazar hasn't had a goal in about 10 games, I want to say, or not 10 games. I think it's 8.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Been a while. He's getting assists, but I know he wants to hit the back of the net pretty soon. Moore's been pretty streaky, but the speed is clearly there. It's just I love banking on the kids. You know what I mean? Like I love that they're in a position to do this, but you can't fully bank on the kids. And that's why it helps to have those veterans. I mean, Burakovsky, Bertuzzi, and Taylor Biden have all been great this year, I thought. And Donato's had his moments too. He's, looking like he's probably going to get 25 goals at least this year again, which is pretty sweet. That shot really doesn't go
Freaking
away. It's
sweet.
just, I think he just knows where to be more. And he's really making an advantage of his ice time because it's mainly like third line minutes, second power play. Like he's a very underrated player for this hockey team.
Yeah, just looking at the point distribution right now, Bedard, 31 points, 22 games. I believe that paces out to be 115 points over an 82-game season.
Not bad.
Tyler Bertuzzi, yeah, not too bad. Tyler Bertuzzi has point per game with 19 points in 19 games, has 12 goals in those 19 games. I can't believe actual people wanted this guy bought out last year. And Andre Burakovsky, I hope he gets back soon, 15 points in 18 games. It feels like him and Bedard have gone good chemistry, but I think Connor Bedard is just at a point now where whoever plays with him, he's going to elevate his game. Frank Nazar, 15 points, 20 games, only 5 goals, but I mean, if he can go on a hot streak, and then those stats are looking a lot better. Table Teravainen, just steady presence, 15 points in 22 games. Ryan Donato doing exactly what we thought he could do, being half a point per game, 7 goals, 22 games. And yeah, Artem Levshunov, 11 assists in 21 games. If he has 2 or 3 goals, I think he would be a lot more popular in the Calder conversation. And shout out to Louis Crevier, 10 points in 21 games. And even though he doesn't quite have the points, I also want to shout out Ilya Mikheyev, because he has just been so solid, sturdy, steady every game of the season. And he's been awesome on the penalty kill. And I kind of want to transition to that. The special teams for this team has started to really pick it up now. Like, I think the penalty kill has been great pretty much the whole season so far, but the power play has really stepped forward. And I think a lot of that has to do with them moving Lev Shunov to the number 1 power play unit.
Yeah, I mean, from the get go, the penalty kill has been incredible. I thought, the penalty kill was already pretty good last year, but I think they're just so aggressive on the puck. You rarely see them get set up for a long time against this penalty kill. Like, the Hawks, very good about their clears, very good about clogging passing lanes, very good about keeping everything. If there's a shot on net, the goalie's going to see it. And that's a very successful strategy. And I think, it helps that they have so much speed on the penalty kill. You look at Mikheyev and Nazar and Moore and Slaggert and Green, and, Teravainen's got a little bit of a step too here and there. They just, Dickinson and Foligno, steady presences on the penalty kill as well. Everyone knows their role, and it helps. And then the power play, the power play is, it's interesting to me, because I don't know. I watch this team game by game, and I'm never impressed by the power play. But then I look at the end of the day, and I'm like, oh, they got a goal. Oh, they got 2 goals. And I think that's more Bertuzzi. I think Bertuzzi's just such an X factor on that power play of getting everything down low, set up. It's nice to know that after banging the drum for 3 years, they put Bedard in the right circle, and he just starts going ape shit, because that's where that shot is best. It's not best on the left circle for a one-timer. He's not Alex DeBrincat. And that's nothing against DeBrincat. I think just DeBrincat operates better on the left circle. And Levshunov unlocks that, because I think Levshunov is not afraid to shoot it from the point. He's making quicker decisions at the point, which is my biggest complaint with Rinzel. I thought Rinzel would operate that point rather slow on the blue line. That kind of, would jam up the power play at times. But Levshunov's quick to either get that to Burakovsky or get it to Bedard, or get it to, Teravainen, or get it back to Bedard. He makes quick decisions, and I think if I had one critique, I'd really like to see him win the first draw more. I feel like they're chasing a lot on those power plays where they got to get set up in the zone. Better with zone entries this year. I will give them that. It's not as static. Like, yeah, they do the bump back play, but I've seen a couple times where Levshunov takes it in himself. I've seen Bedard just dump it in a couple times. They're changing up their zone entries on the power play, and it definitely helps when you lose those draws. Because clearly, I mean, you watch the games, they get set up in about 4 seconds if they get their play, where it's down low. Bertuzzi pops it back to Bedard, back up to Levshunov, and boom, they're set up. Watching a power play like that gets me really excited for when guys like, Frundell and Kanserov are on this team. Obviously Lardis is great, but I'd like Lardis on the right circle. I think if he's like the shot on the second power play, that's so beneficial. But you put Bertuzzi at the net front, you got Frundell at the left, Bedard on the right, or Kanserov on the left, Bedard on the right. Like, pick your poison at that point. I feel like there's just the power play feels more lethal. It doesn't just feel like, all right, we got to get the puck to Bedard and score. Burakovsky gets the puck, and there's actually something that could happen there. Teravainen gets the puck. Terabainen's very underrated on the power play. It doesn't matter where you put him, bumper, right circle, point. He's gonna find a way to get pucks to the net. And I think that's very underrated skill set he has. We talk about it all the time. He's just consistent, super consistent. But you got to be happy with the special teams. And crazy what happens when you're not the worst 5-on-5 team in hockey and you have good special teams. You're actually not bad most of the time. I think they got to stop taking penalties. I think they take way too many penalties.
Yeah, I think they're getting that, and I think they're kind of. I hate to be like, oh, it's the refs and it's the refs' fault, but they've gone screwed quite a few times this year.
Yeah, got to be more disciplined though. If you're more disciplined, you don't have to cross that bridge. But they capitalize on the chances they get. So there's a couple games where they'll be out chance on the power play, 5 power plays to 2, but their one will cash in. So make the most of your chances. And and just keep getting better 5-on-5. That's more what I'm hoping. Stop having these lulls in the second period where get outshot 10-1. Like it's always
Ugh,
the second period with this team, and I
yeah.
don't know if it's a long change. I don't know if it's just flat-footed coming out of the locker room, but like they're the best third period team in hockey, and they're great when they score first. But God, it's something in the second period. They just kind of hang on for dear life, and they did it against the Leafs. They kind of did it against the Kraken a little bit. It's just, yeah, it's not sustainable. But at the end of the day,
No.
if that's the biggest problem, we're in a good spot.
Though my whole thing these last couple of years, I felt like have been the road to 30 wins, and they have 10 wins in 22 games. You have 60 games remaining to get 20 wins. If they're playing
No,
like this,
Doc,
I
that's a
think they're
lot
going
to
to hit
ask
it.
for.
Yeah. And to go to their special teams numbers, they are sixth in the NHL with a 24.2 power play percentage, and for their penalty kill, they are eighth with 83.3. So yeah, top 10 for both. And you just look at a lot of the raw stats for this team. They are a good team. You brought up them scoring first. I believe they've scored first the most out of any team in the NHL. I think I read that a couple of days ago, so it could be out of date, but regardless, they would probably be at the top still, and they score first a lot. They have the great third periods. It's, man, if you can even just be below average in the second period, you probably give yourself a better chance, because it feels like they're just getting crushed in the second period almost every game.
Yeah, I don't know what adjustments you got to make there, but something's got to change because that's not sustainable once you play these good hockey teams. Like I think Minnesota's a really big test tomorrow night. Their goaltending's been on fire. This is a team where I think they
Oh
saw in the
man,
preseason if you
yeah,
take penalties, they're going to make you pay on the power play. So
yeah.
you got to play structured. Very curious to see how they play tomorrow night because signs show that they should play pretty well against the Wild with the way they play. And Bedard's kind of heated up against those goalies recently, but we'll see. And I mean, how can you not be excited to watch this team every game with the way 98's playing? I mean, we got to just talk about that for a second. We bring it up all the time. He's hit another level of his game, but it's just the puck battles, the aggressiveness, the competitiveness. He's getting better in the dot. He's not a passenger in his own end anymore. Yeah, he still kind of cheats up front, but he's an offensive player. That's what he's going to do at the end of the day. The confidence in his shot is back, and I have been screaming for that for 18 months. How many times did I talk about it this offseason? I haven't seen him go to the middle as much anymore. Maybe it's just me, but before this, with the jaw injury, it felt like he was we talked about it, he was a perimeter player last year. That is not the case at all this year. I've seen this guy go to the net more than ever this year. He's not afraid to go onto the wall and win a battle. He's not afraid to finish his checks. I've seen him take one in the mouth from Brendan Dillon and get right back up and score a goal. Shit like that you just didn't see from him last year. And the compete level is just so much higher. And you could tell he really wears this franchise on his back, and it's not weighing him down this year. The last 2 years, I think it was weighing him down.
Especially
This year, I
last
think
year, yeah.
this year, I think it's just up. I think it's helping him take off. The best showcase is the Calgary game. First game, he gets to wear the A, gets a hat trick. The hat trick was a gritty hat trick at that. First goal just beats out the battle, pokes it past Wolf. Second goal, vintage Bedard. I mean, he's just
Incredible snipe, yeah.
ridiculous, just ridiculous snipe. Dustin Wolf he does not
No
like seeing Connor
chance.
Bedard coming.
No.
But and then he finishes it off with I think the biggest thing is he finishes it off with an empty net goal out there when they're only up by, I think it was 2 at the time. And you look at
Mm-hmm.
the last couple of years. I think the first 2 years Bedard was on the ice with the goalie pulled like a handful of times in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Blashill trusts
Not a
him in that
lot.
situation now all the time. And I think that's a sign of growth in his game. I think that's a sign of growth of him as a player. And, it's still got a hot head with the refs. I mean, it's fucking Seattle game is the epitome of that, I feel like.
Yeah.
But he's a 20-year-old kid and he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders and it's not weighing him down anymore. And clearly it's showing in his game. He's top. I think I saw the offensive ratings today from Puckpedia, or was it Puckpedia or it was like Hockey Reference or something.
I
And
think I know what you're talking about, like the hockey stat cards, like game score. I think it was Dom Lucian. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
he's fifth in the league right now. Right behind Jason Robertson, which he's been on fire too. But Trade rumors be damned with him, but one of the most electric players in the NHL, and with the the league's better when this team is in the forefront of hockey and exciting to watch, and not just a circus show of Bedard leading the elephants and whatnot. But now it's a little different. It's a different show on tour. It's not just clowns on ice. It's whatever you want it to be. I don't know. Phantom of the Opera, Phantom of the Bedard.
Yeah, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah, Kubrick. No.
Kubrick could never craft up those wrist shots that Bedard makes. Also, what does he have? He has 2 hat tricks this year. What
well
youngest
overdue.
player with 2 hat? I don't know. He's been ballistic, on pace for 100. If he doesn't get 100 points, I'd be shocked at this point. Just with the
He's
way
gonna
he's
finish
playing.
at least like 90 points, and I think if it doesn't, then something's gone horribly wrong. So like what you were talking about earlier with Bedard, where I felt like he really, like, the pressure of him being the franchise player for the Blackhawks has really weighed on him the last couple of years, especially last year. And there were times last year where I felt like he was a little lackadaisical at times, but this year it feels like he's taken just a complete, like, a quantum leap in terms of being a hockey player, but also being an icon for this franchise, being a leader. I think him having Frank Nazar as a buddy and not being on an island alone has helped him a lot. I feel in the best possible way. He just doesn't really give a fuck anymore. Like I've said, he plays aggressive. You brought up him yelling at the refs in Seattle. I would rather that than not. Again, the saying of it's easier to tame a lion than paint stripes on a cat. I think you can rein that in. I think it's good that your best player is now the hardworking player, because everyone is just going to fall up with that. He has an incredible shot, obviously, but now he's just getting to the net. He's being gritty. He's going along the boards. He's getting in the scrums after whistle. And it looks like he's enjoying every second of it, like a pig rolling and shit, or like a cat facing anything, like those videos of cats just swiping at animals bigger than them, the alligators, crocodiles, whatever. And it's awesome. And I was listening to, shout out to the Hockey PDO cast. Emily Kaplan was on, and she said that Connor Bedard took a tremendous bet on himself to not sign a contract. And at this rate, I don't care what the money is, because I feel he's just going to be worth it. And he's only going to get better when he gets better himself and he gets better line mates. So I don't care what the money is. I just hope he signs here 8 years, because he's a truly special talent.
Yeah, blank check. I don't care what it is. They have 40 mil in cap space this offseason. They could pay him 15 mil, and I wouldn't give a shit. Like that
Yeah.
money. The next closest contract is probably going to be Levshunov, and I don't see that being north of Seth Jones at the moment. So
No, it's
I
not
think
going to
I think you're in good hands to just give him whatever the fuck he wants. So,
yeah. What contract could go over $10 million at the moment? I don't think anyone.
I think Levshunov could if he bets on himself and
Mm-hmm.
waits a little longer. But that I just think his offensive upside, we're just getting started. And like we talk about it all the time, this kid over a 3.5 year span has jumped leagues at a rate that has not been seen by a lot of prospects. So I
Belarus,
think
USHL, college, AHL, now the NHL within like not even 4 years, I think. Yeah.
and it took him about 50 NHL games to start picking up steam. So
Mm.
look the fuck
Like you
out.
said earlier, it feels like it always has to be, oh, this player is better than the other one, instead of being like, oh, we can enjoy both players. I feel now Macklin Celebrity, oh, he's so much better than Bedard. He cares. He's more complete than
Celebrity's
Bedard. It's like,
so sick.
yeah,
He's
now we
so
can
good.
both be like, oh, these guys are superstars and they're going to be the faces in the NHL for the next 10 plus years. And now, again, you can quabble with the pick, but I think we can both, like, everyone now can be like, oh, Artem Levshunov is just his own good player, and so is Ima Davidoff. I think we've reached that point now, which is good.
Not convenient that it's 20 seasons to the date we get 2 elite young players going head to head and back to from 2 number 1 picks going head to head in back to back drafts. In something or season ending in a 5 and a 6.
Yeah. It's
You know,
just the game for all we complain about hockey in the NHL, this game is in really such good hands right now. Just looking at the top 4 point getters, all Canadian for one thing. Nathan McKinnon is first with 37. Macklin Celebrini is second with 34. Connor McDavid, oh, he's having a down year, has 33 points, and then Connor Bedard's right there with 31. But then I look down the list. Leo Carlson's got 29 points. I
Jack
know
Eichel
Logan
has third.
Cooley. Yeah, Eichel is Eichel, and I saw Logan Cooley. I think got 4 goals and an assist last night. The NHL is just in such good hands right now, and like we've said, you still got Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon doing what they're doing, and Crosby and Ovechkin are still kicking around and leading their team to playoff spots. So yeah, it's such a good spot right now, but I don't. Do you have anything further on the Blackhawks? Because I would like to get into some teams that are doing a lot worse than what the Blackhawks are right now.
Oh, dude, the black jerseys look sick.
They
Need a
are
black
hot.
Spencer Knight jersey.
No, but Ben Pope said they're not they're ugly or whatever.
Ben, I love you, but we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
We gotta.
One. My first jersey was a black Tony Amonte, bro. Like, come on, like you can't. Still,
we gotta ask him that next time he's on the podcast.
Oh, have to. So be like, so when we get you a black jersey and you have to wear it to the scrum, we're gonna get you a Sam Lafferty one. Also, last time we
shout out to that goal.
Yeah. All year. Like, oh my God. This put Luke Hughes in a fucking blunder. Jesus. Yeah. Oh my God. Just so many great moments. Colton Dock game-winning goal. Just, I don't know. Shout out a couple of like minor moments, I feel like. That's one. I really think Colton Dock has found a role on this team in that bottom six. I like his game a lot. But shout out that, and shout out Bertuzzi just being a fucking beast in the net front. Oh my God, just taps in everything.
Yeah, it feels like he's just on another level this year as well, and I think that familiarity with Jeff Blashill has helped out a lot. And I think Jeff Blashill has just been so good for this franchise. Like, I know he wasn't our number one choice, but compared to the coaches they had before, you could definitely tell this is a guy who knows what he's been doing, even though he didn't really have a good teams in Detroit. But I think him being an assistant coach in Tampa Bay has helped out a lot, even if he wasn't perfect there. And I know like some players and definitely fans had their issues with them.
Yeah, but you learn from your mistakes. We've seen this. I think a name that doesn't get thrown around a lot, but Travis Green is one that kind of learned from his mistakes in Vancouver, and I think he's done a very good job in Ottawa. Like, this happens a lot. The second stint usually helps a lot more, and Lane Lambert, I think with Seattle's another good example right now. He's kind of had a decent start. We see this a lot, but Blashill, they're even sniffing the playoffs. Jack Adams finalists, like he's getting the most out of these guys right now, and the fact that I can only point to like 2 games to where they got caved in this year, we take that out of 22 games. I think last year you probably could have counted at least.
There's probably a handful, yeah.
Yeah. A lot more times they've been caved in, but besides the Winnipeg and the Buffalo game, they've been competitive every night. So shout out Blashill, like you said.
Yeah. I feel like that Seattle game was more heartbreaking to me. Like I'm more mad at that loss because they had the 2-0 lead. Buffalo, it's just like, okay, second half of the back-to-back. They were probably due. I hate thinking this way, being like, oh, this is an automatic loss, because theoretically you can win any game, but you can also lose any game. I'm just like, whatever. You get shelled that game. Just move on, go to the next game. And I feel they responded well against Colorado. Again, they didn't get the win, but teams have had trouble beating Colorado this entire year. They've only lost in regulation once. And again, I don't want to be like, oh, moral victories or blah, they're supposed to win this game or they're not. But I mean, you can hold your head high that they lost 1-0 to Colorado and they gave a pretty good effort. And I think Scott Wedgwood has just had their number the last couple of years. I think I saw last year he was the first goalie to shut them out, and now he's the first goalie to shut them out this year. So you might just have their number.
Fuck Scott Wedgwood. Start Mackenzie Blackwood next time. Show some adversity.
That's going to be future Olympian Scott Wedgwood to you, pal.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah, if he keeps it up, man. Like, I remember in earnest before the NHL canceled 2022 Olympics. Like I remember people talking about Andrew Mangiapane maybe making Team Canada because remember when he got off that crazy start with Calgary and that was the last year that Calgary was good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but Canada this year, you got to bring Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini, and fuck, I would bring Matthew Schaefer at this rate. But I also feel like for narrative purpose, even if Bedard doesn't make it and Canada loses, they can be like, oh, Canada could have used Connor Bedard, and then you got arrested Connor Bedard for the rest of the year, and maybe you could lead some kind of playoff push. I don't know, but yeah. Do you want to get onto some other teams? Do you have any other notes and thoughts on the Blackhawks? One last thing, raise your hand if your favorite NHL team has prospects that lead the KHL in goal scoring, the OHL in goal scoring, and the AHL in rookie goal scoring. Like, really, again, you don't have to agree one for one with every pick that Kyle Davidson has made, but like in some degree, it feels like all those picks have hit or at least have been good. That's not even bringing up names like Vaclav Nesterso, who has been a primary like play driver for UMass. He's point per game. He's adjusted very well. Like he's up there with point per game with freshmen, with guys like Porter Martone, who went high last year. Gavin McKenna, who's supposed to be the first overall pick this year, but that might be in jeopardy right now. But there's just so much to look forward to for this pipeline. It's finally nice to see now that not only is this team going good, but there's going to be help on the way, and we might get some by the end of the year. And like I didn't even bring up Sasha Bover, who got off to a slow start. And I don't know if he's point per game, but he's like under point per game. He's figuring it out. Like they just have so much in the pipeline right now.
Yeah, you just got to see how these prospects play out now.
And like Anton Frundell, his development has been interesting. I wonder if he comes over to Chicago because he hasn't been getting the playing time, but I think that's how the team like Jurgens has wanted to develop him. Like they don't want to give him top line minutes, like they don't want to wear him out, and like they don't want to put the spotlight on him. But I wonder if he comes over to Chicago earlier, if he gets fed up with the ice time. I don't know, but I think this prospect pool is in a very good place, and I think the best part is I think you and I haven't really talked or thought about the top of the draft class this year, that we're not worrying about that not like they might not even pick in the top 5, they might not even pick in the top 10 if they pick this up. So yeah, it despite the Blackhawks losing 3 in a row, I think we're still all in all, it's a very good start, especially when you compare it to the last few years.
Yeah, great start.
Spinorama's Michigan goals, a sprawling save across the crease. Live and breathe all the highlight moments with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers, bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. So there are 5 teams I want to talk about. Where do you want to start? Because it seems like all of Canada with their hockey teams is kind of on fire right now. There's a couple. Predators aren't doing well right now. Where would you like to start? I'll give you the pick of the litter here. What team interests you the most? Because I've got Canucks, Flames, Oilers, Leafs, and Preds as teams. Which team intrigues you the most?
I mean, I guess we'll start with Nashville because they're the worst team in the league by a substantial margin.
Yeah.
It's we always talk about betting on like a heater, you know what I mean, and how that can go a lot of different ways. And I think 2023, 2024 is really shaping up to be a year that shows like the tale of two sides. Because you have Florida, who like really took off the year, or I guess the year before for Florida. The year before, Florida really takes off in the second half, make the playoffs, make the cup final, lose to Vegas, really never look back to back cup champs.
Nope.
Then you have a team like Nashville, who was, kind of starting to bottom out. And then all of a sudden, boom, they hit this crazy U2 hot streak bullshit where they went on an 18-game point streak and they made the playoffs. And then, the management group looks at themselves and says, hey, let's go all in on all these 30-plus-year-olds. They spend I think the combined money was over $100 million
A
on
lot. It's
July
three
1st.
digits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shea, Marchessault, and Stamkos.
Or
They
nine
stunk
digits, I
last year.
guess. Yeah.
Stunk last year. Had a chance to sell. Didn't sell, at least at the rate that I thought they were going to sell. They sold guys like Tommy Novak, but kept Ryan O'Reilly, who clearly does not want to be there anymore.
For every post game, he is just so dejected, and he's just like his own worst critic. I can't even make a 6-foot pass, and this is the guy who, like, 7 or 8 years ago was like, "I've lost
he has
my
a
love
Conn
for
Smythe.
hockey." Yeah.
Oh, not great. But they go into this offseason. I don't really think they do much. They trade Askarov, which is something else
Oh
that is now
man.
starting to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
Bet on themselves some more, spend some more money, get like Nick Perbix, get rid of guys like Alex Carrier who seem to have fit like a glove in other locations, and they are now the worst team in the league. They have zero center depth, which is something they've always had a problem with. Their prospect pool is not nearly as good as they probably thought 3
If you'd
years
want
ago
it
when
to
they
be.
started
Yeah.
crafting it. Yeah. And, a lot of contracts that have a lot of years left that are going to be pretty hard to move. You look at a time where they probably could have got a haul for Philip Forsberg, and they kept him
I
and
think
signed
they
him
still can.
6 years
Maybe
left
not
on
as
the deal.
much. They're gonna
6
have
years
to
making
retain,
8.
obviously. Yeah.
I mean, we know they'll retain and buy out clearly, but
Yeah.
dude, like they have him locked up. You look at all those contracts: Shea, Marchessault, Stamkos. Like they want to move all of them, sure, but they're all making a bunch of money. They all have trade protection. UC Saros, another guy they probably could have moved off of. Still probably can move off of, but he has trade protection now. Granted, he's having an okay year, but I mean, Yossi's not getting any younger. They don't have the horses anymore, and this is an arms race in the Central. We talk about this all the time. Like I think I saw a post where it was like, "Oh, it must be nice to have a franchise center," and it was a Nashville fan.
And it was a Nashville fan. Yeah.
I was just like, "Well, I don't know. Pick better." They picked Brady Martin. What was it, 5th overall this year?
Maybe pick Jimmy Higgins or Porter Martone or yeah.
I mean, Matthew Wood looks okay in the NHL, but at the same time, like there were better guys they could have picked then. I don't like the direction they're going, and I don't think a top 5 pick is like, yeah, you get a McKenna, you get a Stenberg or something. That's going to be great for your system, but this is a multi-year teardown. I think we're looking at, and I don't think Barry Trotz is the guy to do that. I don't think he's ever been the guy to do that.
No.
He says the phones are on, but I'm not going to make calls. Like, what the fuck? Just like you're going to get fleeced regardless. I don't know what we're trying to accomplish here. And, this is a team that's had a lot of talent over the years and has never figured it out ever since 2017.
They've never been bad, I don't think, like in their
Not this
franchise
bad.
history, really. No, yeah.
This is the first year they're going to bottom out, and I don't know how long. Like, I guess last year they kind of bottomed out, but this is going to be like you're probably guaranteed a top 3 pick, and with how bad they've been. Like them in Calgary, they're right there, and you could sell off and get a bunch of assets, but you got to hit on those assets, and they got guys like Kamel and Molendijk, and like who knows what that's going to end up being, and I wouldn't have faith. That's what this team's doing. The guy you got for Askarov has, I think, 3 points in the AHL. Like 4 points, I think. So
in the AHL.
Have fun. I don't know. It's not going to be an easy teardown. I mean, you could have got a first plus for O'Reilly last year and didn't from New Jersey. I know New Jersey was knocking on the door for that one. Probably would again this year, for being honest. But I think you got to pull the plug if you're Trotz. I think it happens after Christmas. I think you're going to give it one more month, and if it doesn't, I mean, shit. Like this is around the time when the fireworks start to fly on those first trades. I mean, I
It
think
should
of
be starting now or like in a week.
usually after American Thanksgiving, I think that was like when the Truba trade happened last year, or was a little bit before.
Dude,
Um,
Colorado completely remade their goaltending duo at this time last year.
yep, exactly. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I we'll talk about a couple teams that probably be looking to make moves with this team, I'd imagine. Um, but it's grim in Nashville, and I can't stress enough. Every team minus St. Louis probably is getting better. They're not getting worse. Colorado
Hmm.
and Dallas are still at the top of their game.
They're still at the top.
Winnipeg,
Winnipeg, yeah.
enigma. Utah and Chicago on the uptick. Utah really on the uptick. They started really heating up again. Top six. When the top six is going for Utah, they win games. When it's not going, they lose games. They're a top heavy team. But hey, good stars to bet on. Like you said, Cooley had 5 points yesterday. So I think Nashville needs to pick a direction, and I think that maybe starts with trading UC Saros. I'd love to see if a guy like Roman Yossi ever got on the block. I'd love to see someone
That's
make him.
my like I don't know what phrase word you would use, but that's the thing I'm gonna bang the drum for is I want to see Roman Yossi get traded, not just be like haha Nashville, but to see Roman Yossi play for a cup contender and hopefully get a ring would be cool.
Imagine like Roman Yossi on the Kings just to
I've
help
always
that
said
team.
Roman Yossi in Colorado. I don't know if it would happen because they're in division, but
Sam
that's
Gerard's coming home.
yeah, let's go.
Oh
Welcome back,
no.
2017, and now you have Kyle Turris and Matt Duchene's contracts on the books still for the buyouts. Like, let me go through their Puckpedia right now, and I think the funniest thing is their whole Ryan O'Reilly thing because they could have traded him last year, but they're treating him as if he has a movement clause. Like it reminds me of those TikToks of those guys that vape and then they cough it out. It's like the ghost. I'm like, no, you created the problem that self. You're making a problem there that there isn't. Like, what are you
Crying.
doing? You don't need to put this clause in front of yourself. Just trade the guy. Who cares? Like he's gonna be literally happier anywhere that you trade him to. But anyways, the contracts. Philip Forsberg signed till 2030. I still think there'd be teams that would take him and give up a lot for him. Steven Stamkos. It's just sad because he's 35. I'm trying to pull up he has 5 points in 22 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. Like I think you just dump that contract. You don't even expect anything for that. I think the same of Jonathan Marsh or so. I still think like I can see teams wanting these players. The problem is I don't think you're going to get a haul for any of them, and you're probably going to have to retain salary on. Like the only players I could see them getting a haul back are Forsberg and Yossi, really, and Brady Shea as well, and just Nicholas Hag for 4 years at $5.5 million. I've seen rumors with Oilers and maybe getting UC Saros. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I guess more on that later. But yeah, they are in a tough spot right now, and I don't have the faith in them to at least not in Barry Trotz to tear it down and get the right prospects down. Because even if they do that, they haven't drafted well either. Like they haven't like this isn't like the 2023 Blackhawks where I was like, oh, they're tearing it down. It sucks. But at least I agree with Kyle Davidson's drafting. Like if I see like if I'm ownership, if I'm the fans of the National Predators, I have no faith in Barry Trotz to turn around, which sucks because he's been their best coach probably ever and is a guy who's going to be in the Hall of Fame because he won a cup with the Capital. He's been a very head coach, but the whole general manager thing has been a complete disaster. And yeah, like I think of the Blackhawks in positive and negative ways, how a winning or losing streak can impact your plans for the future. Because I think the 2020 bubble influenced their way going forward for the Blackhawks, and them losing 4 straight to the National Predators influenced them going forward. Like you never base your team off a small sample size, and they did that in 23-24. And as fun as it is to see like the cavemen and be like, oh, they spent all these monies on these big name guys. It has not worked out. It is time to pull the plug. And man, it might take a while with all the bad contracts they have, and they still have buyout money. Like this is gonna be ugly. They might have to bottom out, and it might be a few years for them to get back to the top, or even like some resemblance of being good.
Yeah, and you talk about not getting a good haul. Well, clearly Nashville doesn't think that. Did you see what Pierre LeBrun said earlier today in insider trading?
What? Oh no.
Oh, Nashville's still looking for a first and an A-level prospect for Ryan
You
O'Reilly.
could have got that last year, bro. What are we doing?
What's crazy is they probably could have got like a Dawson Mercer last year, and now that's off the table. Like,
They would have ruined him though. Like
probably,
he wouldn't be as
probably.
good as he is now, but damn, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't know Stamkos was that bad. Also, I don't know who takes that contract. Half retained even.
Because it
Toronto's the team
feels
I think of that's going to make a move with this team. So they're
well
going
in
to do something dumb with
Vancouver.
them.
Yeah. Because I
Oh
like
God,
these teams are all can be all interlinked together. Because I feel the thing around the NHL right
interlinked.
now is I need to find some kind of second line center, which is like in real life where like I need to find a good cheap used car. Like you're not just gonna find second line centers. You're gonna have to probably find like you're probably gonna
I
have to
need
get
a
something with
no. I need a
like you
cheap
need
used
damaged
car. Here's this
goods.
wagon.
Yeah,
I'm going to make it work. You're
yeah,
telling me the
exactly. Like
wagon doesn't go that fast? Oh, fine. I guess I'll just get another wagon. But this one's going to have gold wheels. It's going to go so much faster. But it's still a wagon. That's a
like
Canucks.
you gotta pick up damaged goods. Like if you're getting like yeah,
Well,
Nashville.
or you could
Yeah,
just flip them in 10 games like the Canucks with Lucas Reichel.
like I know we talked about could the Blackhawks have maybe got a little more for Reichel if they traded him earlier? Yeah, but also, man, at
He is
this
what he
point,
is.
they're lucky they got a fourth. It's highway robbery that they got a fourth round pick. Holy. I don't know if you have any more left on Nashville, but I think they're going to be the
Blow it
team to
up.
watch in terms.
Blow it
Yeah,
up and
just
trade
blow it up.
Saros. That'll actually blow it up. If you want to bottom
Mm-hmm.
out, you trade Saros. And I
And
know a
Yossi
team
and
up in
Forsberg.
Alberta that would give up
Hell
pretty
yeah.
penny for UC Saros right now.
Do you want to transition to the Oilers or?
Sure.
All right. All right.
Perpetual mid.
Magic Conch, how will we get out of the kelp forest? Nothing. Like that's the Oilers with their goaltending situation these last however many years since they ran Cam Talbot into the ground, playing him 73 games plus like I think like 15 more games in the playoffs, and he's now just recovering from that and has actually been a decent backup, and he might actually be a trade target for them. And we've gone over this time and time again. You could probably keep one of Skinner or Pickard. You simply cannot have both of them. You had Mike Smith for all those years, and it didn't work out. But funny enough, I think a lot of fans would like Mike Smith back or Mike Smith kind of goaltending back because he was better than Skinner than Pickard. But that's how low the bar is. Mikko Koskinen and all like them trying to get Jack Campbell. That didn't work out. His money is still on the books for them for a team that is right up against the cap. And I think that's my big thing is that how the hell are you going to make a trade to get a goalie? Especially a UC Saros. I saw a Jordan Binnington in there as well, which would be a hilarious match. But one thing that has resurfaced is with how good Jesper Wallstedt has been with Minnesota. The Edmonton Oilers traded away that pick that was what Jesper Wallstedt, and they did pick Xavier Bourgault, who I saw at the airport in Montreal. Unfortunately, his NHL career hasn't got off to what maybe he thought it was going to be, but yeah, that must sting that you trade up to get Bourgault. Not only do you miss on Wallstedt, I think they missed on Wyatt Johnson as well. So yeah, just the goaltending has continually plagued this team, and it's not like super easy, but it's not impossible to switch goalies. We talked about Colorado. I would argue that they have a better goaltending duo than they did when they won the cup in 2022. Wedgwood and Blackwood have been amazing for them. I look at Washington, them getting Thompson and Lindgren. Thompson should make the Olympic team. Like both these goalies should be making the Olympic team. What Vegas has done over the past few years, at one point, a few years ago, they had Robin Leonard and Marc-Andre Fleury, and then they've cycled through like Logan Thompson, Laurent Brossoit, and Aiden Hill, and now that's their guy. And Edmonton has just not done any of that. Like if they tried it for 1 year, fine. But this is what the third, fourth year of them trying this. It hasn't worked. You got to move on. You got to find a way. But I don't know what you do because they're just so up against the cap right now. And what do you trade for a UC Saros even? And how do you make that work? What do you trade for a Jordan Binnington? Because I've seen that as well. Like I was kind of thinking about it earlier with St. Louis. Funny enough, maybe the worst contract that they've signed is Trent Frederick, who has 2 goals in 24 games and nothing else. He is from St. Louis. So maybe there's something there. Maybe that's how you make a trade. I do not know. But the Oilers, man, who's going to be the first team to fire their head coach? The Oilers have shown they do not care about firing their head coach. They did it with Woodcroft when I thought Woodcroft was going to be one of their better coaches coming up. They might do that with Knobloch now. It sounds like he isn't completely safe there. Could they be the team that hires Pete DeBoer? I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on the Oilers right now because they should be acting as if like these are the last 2 years, Connor McDavid. You should be overreacting and doing everything and turning over every stone to make this team better. And I saw a quote, I think it was Dave from Dave Pagnotta, so I don't know how much of a take it with a grain of salt, but he said that they're going to look at upgrading their goaltending in season trade deadline, and if not, they're going to look in the summer. Like you don't have time to do that anymore. You should be doing it. Should have been done last summer, but yeah, I know. But they're in such a bad spot right now. Ugh. But then again, the Oilers could just win 10 in a row and I'd be like, yeah, sounds about right. But I want to hear your thoughts on the Oilers. What do you think they should do?
Dude, I was just looking at their Puckpedia. They have 9 people with no move clauses right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Go
going to be
Stan
10.
Bowman. No,
Yeah,
I don't know
Stan
if it's
Bowman.
all of them was his fault.
Oh, he never left. Oh, my God. And what's crazy is, like, if they really, really, really want to haul and, like, make a change, the only player that can be moved is Bouchard. And
Did we
Puck
talk about it? Wasn't it you brought up? Like, what if the Oilers did a trade to Buffalo for like Bowen Byram and one of their young forwards? I wonder if that's still a move that's on the table.
You got to do something big. And I mean, you look at a team like Nashville, they're going to want futures. So, like, you probably
Mm-hmm.
could pull that move off. But, like,
With Ike Howe, which by the way, horrible Calder pick.
yeah, not great. Oh God, I'm just
Nashville
looking at
probably
the
like
sheet. I
Savoie
don't know what they're
too.
gonna do. I don't know what they're
They
gonna do
have
because like Matt Savoy has proved to be a roster player, but if you're gonna make a move, that's probably the guy that gets moved.
that's your big piece, yeah.
Ike Howe isn't that high a trade value. Like, what are you gonna do? Fucking force Nurse out? Like that? That's not gonna work. And I think you got to find a way to make it work to get Saros. I don't think Bennington's the answer. Like
Mm,
big game wise, Bennington's nice, but like you got to get to the big game, and that's the problem. And his goals expected is like one of the worst in the league. It's below, right? He lets in everything, and I think we saw that he got put in for 1 goal against Chicago and got sniped on by Dickinson.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I look at their sheet and I'm just dumbfounded. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do, and they have so many guys that they have locked up for more than 4 years, starting with Trent Frederick.
Horrible, horrible.
Not great. And it's crazy too, because like you look at their team performances. Like they're getting so much out of Jack
Oh,
Roslovic right
Jack
now.
Roslovic has been a revelation from, and that was kind of a point I wanted to make was this team should not be committing to anyone long term besides like Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. You should just be shuffling every piece around them to make it work. And to me, that would be a great thing with Jack Roslovic. And that's why I didn't mind what they did last offseason with guys like Jeff Skinner, Victor Arvidsson. Like, yeah, it didn't work out, but oh well, they were only 1 and 2 year contracts. I still don't get that Trent Frederick signing. I don't get them signing Matthias Janmark for 3 years. Like, yeah, he's only making 1 point whatever $1 million. I don't have the Puckpedia pull up at the moment, but
He
when
has 2
you're up
points. He
against the
doesn't have a
cap,
goal.
when you're up this close against the cap, like those pennies, dollars make all the difference.
Adds up.
And yeah, you need more Jack Roslovic. And like, by the way, like we talk about second line centers. Not that I think Jack Roslovic is a second line center. He might not even be a center, but a lot of teams could have used that. And it's I think Roslovic turned out multi-year deals as well. But playing with Oilers, he's on pace for a career year and he's going to cash in. But yeah, I think a lot of teams look stupid not taking a chance on Jack Roslovic.
Yeah, I don't know how he made it that long without getting signed. He must have been waiting for an opportunity, and clearly he waited for the right one in Edmonton. But Yeah, when in the knob-block regard, I think that's definitely a possibility coming up. Where are they at in the standings currently? Let's see. They are
I think they're worse than the Hawks.
2
I could
points
be
out of the
wrong,
wild
but
card, but Vegas is 2 games in hand. They're 2 points ahead. So, and Seattle and LA and Anaheim all are ahead. They're 4 points from being first in their division, and they are 5 points from being the
dude,
worst
I
in the
hate
league.
the loser points so much because just looking at the standings, so the Colorado Avalanche are far and above the best team in the NHL. They have a 7 point gap between them and the second place Carolina Hurricanes. And then the Carolina Hurricanes have a 6 point gap between them and the 26th place New York Rangers and 25th place Chicago Blackhawks, who both have 24 points. I hate the loser points so much. I feel so many games have gone overtime this year, and it's like impossible to get a read on which team is actually good. I look at teams like I think Seattle has a bunch of overtime losses. Yeah, they have 6. They have more overtime
Kings.
losses than regulation loss. The Golden Knights have 7 overtime losses, 5 regulation losses. Yeah, you said the Kings 6-6. Yeah,
Disgusting.
but anyways, that's just
Also,
a,
shout
a
out the Ducks.
tirade.
They're 1 overtime loss to the Hawks. Get the nod on bud. Um,
Let's go.
but yeah, Edmonton's probably gonna. I don't know if firing Knobloch's the answer. Like, if this is what they got to do every 2 years, whatever. Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's like the Eagles getting a new OC every year, and then they fucking make the Super Bowl. Like, cool, go ahead. We just keep talking about it. You have treaded your wheels with McDavid 10 years. Why is only make it 12? Go ahead. Nothing we can do. We just sit here and watch and see him try to will them to another cup. And I don't know if they've noticed, but the West is starting to get a little less top heavy. So you might want to figure it out.
Yeah. Again, they could just figure it out, win 10 in a row. I also wouldn't be shocked at it either. I feel just any outcome wouldn't surprise me at this team is the funniest part. Like they could lose 10 in a row and I'd be like, yep, time to blow it up. Didn't work out. Or they could again win 10 in a row, make the playoffs, and then go on another deep playoff run. But it just feels it's history's gonna find a way to repeat itself. They're gonna get to the final and then probably face Florida or another very good Eastern Conference team and then lose because their goaltending just simply isn't good enough. But does UC Saros move the needle enough for this team? I think it does, but like
Yes.
I don't know. I just don't. I think for me, I don't know how you make the move work out, man. Like you have to trade someone like a Trent Frederick to make it.
You're going to overpay.
I think
You're going to overpay.
Yeah.
It's the only way it works. And it's going to be a lot of futures, but probably all of them for the McDavid era. But I think you got to make this bet. I think you have to. You have to get someone who is going to be a legit needle mover in net, and it can't be someone that's going to get you a shutout one night and get pulled the next. And I think Bennington, you're falling right back into that, even if it's easier to make.
Yeah, you need a steady presence, and maybe Bennington can have a higher ceiling than a UC Saros, but also we've seen what Jordan Bennington is capable of. You just need rock steady, solid goaltending. That's all you need. I think I've looked at the save percentages of the Oilers goalies the last couple of years. Like, and when they made it to Game 7 of the Cup Finals, Stuart Skinner had exactly 900. If they get even just 905, they probably win the Cup.
So stupid.
I don't know if you have any further hot thoughts on the Oilers, but it is the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Like the time is ticking. Got 2 years left of McDavid. You need to turn over every stone. Trade all those future first round picks. They are not going to help you right now. Trade all the prospects. If Masavoy is not in your top 6, you got to trade him and strike while the iron is hot. Well, maybe not while the iron is hot. Well, he still has some trade value, and he's not being benched and sent down to Bakersfield like Isaac Howard.
Ike Howe.
Ike Howe, yeah.
I like Ike.
Me, how did he do that? I don't like Ike. Do we want to go down 3 hours south to the other Alberta team? I kind of wanted to go on a big rant about the Flames on how they've just been so mid and have never bottomed out, but all those years of being mid has just caught up to them now, and they're just gonna like there was an interview with Don Maloney with Sportsnet, and I'm gonna read some parts from it, but part of me is just like none of it matters now. All that decision is out of their hands because they're second last in the NHL right now, and by quite a bit. Like they're gonna be bad whether they want to or not, or management wants to do a rebuild or not. And I look at Nashville, that's such a hard like they have so many bad contracts there. Not that Calgary is much better, but I feel their situation is a bit more easier to sell, like to sell off. Are you telling me teams aren't going to want Mackenzie Weegar for I think it's 6.25? If you were not that I think they would eat money on that, but you could get a first-rate prospect, a first-round pick plus for Mackenzie Weegar. Are you telling me teams aren't going to want Nazem Kadri at the trade deadline? Are you telling me teams aren't going to want Blake Coleman? To me, they have more appealing pieces than what the Nashville Predators have, and probably more favorable contracts. And nope, their management doesn't want to do it because they need more Nazem Kadris.
Yeah, I don't even understand where he's coming from with that. That's a sign of top to down malpractice in an organization, and they're going to get bailed out with a top 3 pick, which is hilarious. But who knows? Maybe this top 3 pick's going to leave, just like Kachuk did. Well, Kachuk was top 6, but that's not the point. This is a team that just keeps making poor decision after poor decision. They keep betting on guys that they shouldn't bet on. You look at a guy like Sharon Govich, who got a 5-year extension, and now I think he's on pace for like 30 points. So that's good.
Not great for that kind of money, if I'm being honest. If this was a trade circle, yeah, 7 points in 20 games. So yeah, like 30 points, yeah.
Can't score. You're scratching your kids every other night. Rasmus Anderson clearly wants out, and you're gonna not just get fleeced by Vegas at the end of the day because you're gonna sit on your hands all the way to the end. You're gonna poke around every free agent there is. You know, it's funny. The Calgary Flames are the Atlanta Falcons of the NHL. And I want to further in this because I've been thinking about this for a while.
Oh boy.
And you look at a team like the Falcons refuse to bottom out. They refuse to be bad. That they also are never good. And every time they make the playoffs, something very disappointing happens every time. And they never win. It sounds very familiar. You know, Calgary will never bottom out. They're always going to spend money. They're always going to spend money in the wrong places.
But bad
That's something
money,
Atlanta does
yeah.
as well. You know, spending $180 million on a quarterback and then drafting a quarterback, and both are terrible and injury prone. Probably not the best use of your money in drafting.
Michael Penis Jr.
You know, probably not drafting for ceiling with all your picks until last year. Probably not a good combo. You know, and then when your guys make it up to the league, rush them in when they're 19, kill their confidence, and then send them to the World Juniors and kill them. Same correct. You just got Henry Yoki Harud. And then your coach uses ChatGPT to fucking improve the roster. So I don't know how it can get worse. And somehow you're still not the worst team in the NHL. You look at Atlanta, they kind of have the same thing going on. Oh, and better yet, you didn't have your first round pick last year because you traded it for, what was it again?
Yeah, I believe what it was is they had to attach that first to get rid of Sean Monahan.
Cool. Like this is such a poorly run organization. And I feel bad for the fans. They have a loyal fan base group. This is a team that's getting a new stadium in a couple years, too. You'd really think they'd want to change the direction now. So when the kids get there, the new stadium gets there. You know, Utah, it's working pretty good for them right now to have this young nucleus with this new team. I just – and they have great goaltending. Dustin Wolf and Devin Cooley have been great. I mean,
dude, they should be playing Devin Cooley more. I feel so bad for Dustin Wolf because I'm gonna reference SpongeBob again. They played him so many games. It's an episode where SpongeBob was trying to train Gary for a race and he just completely breaks down during the middle of it. Gary, why did you tell me I was overworking you? You did? Oh, okay. Like that's them with Dustin Wolf right now. They're just running the poor guy into the ground. Give him a break. Let Devin Cooley play more.
Yeah, the Flames are just a joke, and that's another team where it's going to take multiple years for it to get fixed. And you know, I think it's going to benefit them if the rest of the league's getting better because I don't understand the moves they make. They're also one of the dirtiest teams in the league every time I
Oh,
watch them.
dirty bastards, yeah.
Just a dirty hockey team on top of that. Not a good on ice product. On ice, off ice product is about as bad as can be, and starts with ownership.
Yeah, on August 18th, 2022, Sean Monahan was traded along with a conditional first-round pick in 2025 to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for future considerations. The Flames made the trade in order to create salary cap room to sign free agent Nazem Kadri. Now, like, Kadri has been good for Calgary, and I still would argue they could trade him and get a pretty big package back for him, but that's just a trade. Like, both moves where you could have just kept Monahan and those picks, let Monahan figure it out. But yeah, and to me, I think it's more than just the general manager. That would have been Brad Treliving back then because Craig Conroy was hired in 2023. Again, it goes to the owner. Unstoppable force versus immovable object. Whenever I think of owners, it's Francisco Aquilini, it's James Dolan in New York. They are the unstoppable force, and then Murray Edwards is the immovable object. Like, he just does nothing. Or those guys are so reactionary, he does absolutely nothing.
I mean, it's crazy because I think if they actually committed to tearing this team down, they could get such a haul. You look at
That's what I
Anderson.
mean.
If it's a signing trade, it's going to be a haul. People are going to pay a buttload for Nazem Kadri. Look at a guy like Blake Coleman. When I think he has multiple years left on his deal, he would get you a first round pick if you retain.
Easily. Yeah.
Michael Backlund's another guy that people would want. Like, they just have names that are so enticing. If you really want to get creative, Mackenzie Weegar's a guy, but I think they want to keep him.
Oh, he would get maybe the biggest haul of them all because he's a right-handed defenseman, like top pairing guy making 6.25. Not that I think they would retain money, but if you did, you could get a crazy package back for that.
Yeah. There's a world where they could easily have 3 first round picks this year, and I think they have to entertain that because if they get to the market first, you can get the best haul over a team like a Nashville or St. Louis or, other teams that we'll figure out later on because I think the East is still very muddied, but the West is starting to become a little clear who's at the bottom. So you could beat your contempt or your peers. So shit or get off the pot. But we know they won't.
Yeah.
And they'll probably go on a 5-game win streak and, everything will be all fucking sunshine
We're back,
and rainbows.
guys.
And we'll have this conversation in February and they'll be sitting at like 30 points. Or no, not 30, like 42. Let's go.
Yeah, not great. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Not great, Bob.
Like, if this was like the Nashville like ownership and they had like this is what they had, I would feel a lot more because I think Barry Trotz wants to make moves. Like, I think that front office wants to make moves, but you gotta find it takes two to tango. Whereas Calgary is just the opposite. Like, I think Calgary has more appealing assets than the Nashville Predators, but yeah, the ownership just won't allow that to happen. Is the sad part.
Yeah, it's a top down thing, and I speak from liking a team with bad ownership. Like, it's not the Blackhawks, more talking the Bears and the White Sox, but it's top down.
What?
It's always top down.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of the same thing because Craig Conroy used to be a player in Calgary. Like, he was very popular, and I think of Barry Trotz, how he was a great coach in Nashville, but now his reputation has been sullied by being a general manager, and now Craig Conroy's reputation has been sunk because he has been forced to make horrible moves because he is a puppet for Don Maloney and Murray Edwards. So I do want to read some parts from this article that was done by Eric Francis of Sportsnet. It's a great, if a Flames fan, it's awful to read, but it's very well done because he does ask the tough questions, but they're like Don Maloney is just. Anyways, I'm going to read a part of it. So there's some excerpts from it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. but definitely do. Even though only one team in the last 55 years has bounced back to reach the playoffs after being 10 points out through their first 22 games, Flames president of hockey operations, Don Maloney, says the club's vision remains the same. In a wide-ranging 45-minute one-on-one, the man in charge of the last-place Flames said that while he sympathizes with fans clamoring for a rebuild, it won't be happening on his watch. The only time you enjoy the first pick of the draft is at the draft. There's a lot of suffering to get there, and that's the furthest from our mind, said Maloney. No one has an appetite to just burn it down to the studs, take it all down. Has this start altered the organization's approach moving forward? No, our message is the same. At some point, if the losing continues, could this season possibly alter the approach of the organization? I don't think it would alter the long-term approach. We're so conscious of the culture here and creating the right environment to grow these players, and we feel it's better to grow winning players in a winning environment. We're still going to lean on our veterans, but leave the opportunity for some younger players to come in when they're ready. I don't think the overall approach is changing as we sit here November 22nd. How we move forward. We all want to win a cup. Yet there's a dynamic in Canada. You have 82 games. You want to sell tickets and get people to come to your games. It all kind of works together. I think Murray Edwards was in his earpiece on that one. Is there not a lesson to be learned by the fact that the top 4 leading scorers in the league now are all number 1 picks overall, and teams like San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim, and the Islanders have all turned around with their star draft picks leading the way? Again, in a fantasy world, it's very enticing. You have to deal with the real world too. First of all, we're very early in the season. Let's see how it plays out the rest of the year for those teams. So that is just some parts of that article. Again, read the whole thing. But yeah, there's no easy way to completely rip down, like to rebuild. Like it's a tough thing. There's going to be pain no matter what. But we can just look at the Blackhawks firsthand. Yeah, it sucked all these games that they've lost over the past few years. It sucked seeing franchise icons go like Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, but we can say that a decision has been made and it has been the right decision. And I would argue in those few years that Chicago has maybe now lapped Calgary. Like, go back to 2022. The Calgary Flames lost the second round series to Edmonton Oilers, which seemingly broke them. They lost Johnny Gaudreau, free agency. They had to trade away Matthew Tkachuk. And then the same wild, the Blackhawks completely just ripped it down to the studs, trading away Brandon Hagel, Alex DeBrincat. Kane and Toews are gone, but now you've built it back up with Connor Bedard. And again, like you get luck. Luck is a huge part of it, but when you're not even giving yourself a chance to get, and you don't even have to get first overall. It seems like there's so many good players this year. Like this is the perfect year maybe to not have first overall, but if you get a top 5 pick, that could be so beneficial towards your franchise. And you're just being like, nope. Like, and again, that decision might be out of their hands because they're just so bad and so much mediocrity has finally caught up to them and not trying to improve their team.
I think this is longer than you were making a point of because I want to play a game real quick.
Oh, I know. I've said this. They have been mid for like really since they won their only cup. Like they've never been bad, but they have never been great outside of 1989, 2004. It feels like every few years they're due for a good year. I think of 2015. I think they were the Cardiac Flames when they had Johnny Gaudreau come up or Sean Monahan. Yuri Hiller went off that year. Then 2019, they had a good year. 2022, they had a great year with that first line of Tkachuk, Lindholm, and Gaudreau. And they almost did the same thing last year, but they missed the playoffs, I think, by like a point. Like I think they had 95 points last year. They just couldn't score. And then now you're in those down fears. But yeah, I'll let you to continue your point.
Well, all I was going to say is that the Flames haven't made a conference final since 2004. And in that time, the Blackhawks have had 2 rebuilds and won 3 Stanley Cups.
That's, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
You just got to pick a lane sometimes. You can't just stay in the middle. And they have stayed in the middle a long time. And, it's like a bell curve. Like, yeah, you're going to have the occasional really good year and the occasional really bad year, but you are perpetually mid. This is the 80%. This is what you are. And this is one of the 20% years, but you can make it to where that bell curve goes down a little bit for 3 years. And then the bell isn't in the middle all the time. It's actually leaning more right for a couple years. You just got to pick a fucking lane. Just pick a fucking lane. That's all I'm trying to make a point of.
Mm-hmm. It's just, what scenario do you make this team better? I just think you got to rebuild. I think the only lane they can pick is a rebuild, but they're not going to do that. So,
No, they're fine. We need more teams like this as the Hawks are going to get better.
oh man, Matt Coronado would look nice alongside of Connor Bedard. I'll say that.
He's already got an
Trying to
8-year
keep
deal to
scratch.
boot too.
Yeah, if Ryan Huska is going to keep asking GPT to scratch him, that's such a. And to think there could have been a reality where he was the Hawks head coach.
Oh.
Do you remember that? I think it was Kevin Weeks
Yep.
who tweeted out that Ryan Huska. Yeah, but I remember we were about to record a podcast, and then it was like, nope, it's not actually him. We're like, oh, okay. And they got Luke Richardson instead, which didn't really work out much better, but yeah.
Luke Rich.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Flames fans because I do follow quite a few on Twitter. Shout out to Drew and Zeke. And yeah, this would be a perfect time to tear it down and get assets for some players on your team. Like the Flames don't have a good team, but again, I just think they could get so much for Kadri, for Blake Coleman, like and Uyghur. There, that should be 3 first-round picks right there, but you're not going to do that. Yeah, you might get a top 5. You're probably going to get a top 5 pick, but then you're not going to be able to add that. Like you're not going to have another first-round pick, and you're not going to be able to add that to a pipeline with young talent that you traded for. No, it's just going to be all old players that are losing their value.
Couldn't be my team.
Yeah. And another point about the Blackhawks, they did this for what, 3 or 4 years, the late 20 teens and the early 2020s, with like those last few years with Bowman at the helm, and they still pulled off a rebuild, and they're in a better spot than where they were. So I don't know if you have any further thoughts on the Flames. I guess we could stay in Western Canada and go to the Vancouver Canucks, who are, we've brought up earlier, our team were desperately looking for a second line center, and they fixed that by trading for Lucas Reichel, who they want to trade now, and signing David Kampf.
Because we all know the 2021 Blackhawks are exactly what fixes everything.
Yeah. Should have hired
Help
Bowman
so
too.
much.
So I want to read a tweet from a Canucks fan. This is from @MillerTheGoat9. Rutherford and Alvin came to the Canucks in 2021-2022 with Pettersson, Miller, and Horvat down the middle. Now we have Pettersson, Kampf, and Bluger while sitting 30th in the entire league and about to lose Hughes, going to be one of the, okay, yeah, this isn't worded the best grammar, and about to lose Hughes, who's going to be one of the best defensemen in NHL history. How are they still employed? Like, I don't think it's being talked about enough that I think Quinn Hughes has openly said he doesn't want to be part of a team that's going to rebuild. And I think Vancouver might have to rebuild. And while he isn't available, he isn't on the table, like Elliot Freeman said last night. All their veterans are available. And one name I didn't see that was untouchable was Elias Pettersson. So, man, and again, the Canucks are the same thing. Their ownership, I don't think, will allow for a rebuild when this team could do it. And it sucks because, yeah, they've screwed over what could have been a great core. 2020, they had that deep run. You could say whatever, it's 2020. But 2024, they are a healthy Brock Besser away from at least getting the conference final. And who knows what happens after that. I've always said it about the Canucks. You got a franchise goalie, Thatcher Demko, though. Unfortunately, he can't stay healthy. You got a franchise defenseman with Quinn Hughes, and then you had that insane forward core with Pettersson, Horvat, Miller, Brock Besser, and now like half of that is gone. You might not keep Quinn Hughes. Yeah, it's just another situation of what do you do with that ownership if they're not going to rebuild? Like, what happens next?
What the fuck are they going to do? Once again, I'm looking at their sheet. Everyone's got a no move. Like, everyone's got a no move. Your opportunity to trade Pettersson was before the draft. Everyone knew this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had a chance to do this. Now you don't have a chance. You better pray to God that New Jersey is willing to give up something decent when you trade Quinn Hughes to them. Because it's going to get fucking ugly fast if you don't. Like, that offer starts with either Simo Nemec or I don't even know.
Dude, I
Because
want
they're not
Nemec
giving
and
you Heishier
Mercer at
guarantees,
least.
that's for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think there was a time where you could have got a Heishier for him, but that time has passed. You have no leverage. Like it's probably Dawson Mercer and Simo Nemec and 2 firsts. Like that's the starting point, and that's could start a rebuild, but it won't because this is what they are, which is perpetual mid, and they have a goalie that can't stay healthy, which sucks because I
Who
think if he
hasn't? Who he signed an extension? Like he has
yep,
this year 5
big
million, and he's
extension
gonna
too.
make making 8.5 for the next 3 years, and he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, he makes more than the entire Devils goalie core, so that's something. But like this is ending with them trading Hughes. I mean, Rick Dollywall said it's a matter of weeks, not months, that this conversation is going to get had. Like
Man,
the Band-Aid's gonna get ripped. Like when's Jack Hughes get healthy from his cut finger? 8 weeks.
that's
This
so
happens
funny.
pre-Olympics.
Yeah, I find it so funny. Like it sucks he got hurt, but I find it hilarious the timing of it after they played the Hawks
I
and
blame
Frank
Frank.
Fleming was there too.
I blame Frank. It's
and
always
just
Frank.
him quote and just him
It's okay.
quote
He's a Tate
tweeting
McRae
me
now. Tate
and just
McRae
him
fandom
quote
has
tweeting.
discovered Quinn Hughes. Fun
Yeah,
time.
now we're no longer with Cole Sillinger. It's Jack Hughes now. I just find it funny
Yeah.
because he quote tweeted it's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" So funny. But I guess more on that later. But yeah, it's like the thing of okay, you have the decision to make, but then there's going to be a time where you don't have the decision anymore. I think of the Leafs last year or the last couple of years where they could have moved on from Mitch Marner before his movement clause kicked in. It's like okay, then kicked in, then you had a couple of years where he had the movement clause, and then it just got to a point where oh, we've lost again in game 7, and we don't have the choice. Like we don't have the chance or choice now to blow this core up. Like it's going to be blown up regardless, and I think that's the thing with Vancouver here because Quinn Hughes only has 1 year after this year, and I don't think he's going to want to sign an extension here. And even though Elias Pettersson has a movement clause, I don't think he has the appetite to stay for a rebuild, so he could request a trade out too. And then who do you have after that? That's going to stay on this team, and there are some enticing pieces on the Canucks. Like, man, if Kiefer Sherwood keeps this up, come to deadline, I bet you there's a team that would trade maybe a first for him. Um, Jake DeBrusk, there's a lot of term left. Like Brock Besser signed till 2032. Jake DeBrusk signed till 2031. Connor Garland, they just extended him. He's extended till 2032, and I've seen they're trying to trade him. And not that he's been bad, but man, yeah. And then like Filipino, poor guy just can't stay healthy. He was traded for JT Miller. It just sucks because they had so much potential. If they could just only get along, this Canucks team could be so good. But no, they're just a bunch of mid really outside of Pedersen and Hughes and maybe Besser and Philip Hronik.
Yeah, it's a bunch of mid that they overpaid, and they're just going to sit in their own shit now. So I really can't feel bad for a team like that. And you look at, um, I can't feel bad for a player like Besser. He picked his lane.
You
He could have
chose
went
to stay here, yeah. Even
chose
after
it.
they trashed you, like, oh, we couldn't really get anything for Besser that we wanted, and
I can't feel
he
bad.
wanted to stay there.
I can't. And they all have no moves. You control your destiny. You can leave if you want to. And they should fire Alvin and all them and Rutherford. I don't know why they're still there. You made that point earlier. It's just and
But I don't think
they're
that'll
gonna
do
use
anything.
they're gonna use Adam Foote as the scapegoat, bro. And it's just not
Yeah.
fair to him. It's not fair to his coaching career. And they should just sign Jeremy Colleton and make it worse.
Yeah, because the Canucks organization has just been so good to head coaches over the last few years. It's not as if Bruce Boudreau openly knew that he was going to lose his job for a month. Holy man! And to
Trash.
me, that just goes back up to ownership. I don't trust that anything good. They're almost kind of like the Flames in a way because 2020 they had their run, and then 4 years later, 2024, and then you kind of just like I think they have maybe a better core to build around, but then you kind of have a few years of mid, but there might just be a point where you don't have that chance, and then you lose your franchise defenseman and maybe your franchise centerman.
Yeah.
And they've just been like, I just look at some of the trades that they made over the last couple years where they traded for Phil Peronic, who has been good for them in all fairness, but I just think like when they would you maybe like an Excel Sandine Pellica because they traded that pick for Detroit for Hronik, and that's who Detroit picked. And I think they flipped another first round pick to Pittsburgh that they got for JT Miller for Marcus Patterson. Like, could you have not just kept that? And like it really Calgary and them have so many like parallels because I think like Calgary they could have just kept that first and kept Monahan and just like rebuilt, but no, like they always got to be shuffling around and you can't really pick a lane. Like it just feels like watching AI GMs and GM mode make trades. Like it's like what are we doing here? Like there's no direction. But anyways, I feel kind of spinning tires in the mud talking about the Canucks here and really all of these teams. The last team we touched on all the Western Canadian teams and the Predators. Last team I want to talk about is the Toronto Maple Leafs. To me, in a way, they kind of remind me like the spot they're in right now kind of reminds me of the 21-22 Hawks. Do you agree, disagree with that? Because they have not got off to a good start, and another team is holding their first round pick that is top 5 protected. I don't know if the Leafs are so bad that they're going to bottom out and get like into the top 5, but I think there's a reality where the Boston Bruins are picking 6th again and they might have a better season than the Leafs. It's literally 2010 all over again, trading Phil Kessel, and then you get Tyler Seguin and Dougie Hamilton out of it.
Yeah. How do I put this nicely? They're fucked.
Alan, we are so
like there's nothing they can do. Like I've been looking at their Puckpedia for the last 5 minutes, and everyone's got trade protection. Everyone's mid. They all make like $3 million. You can't move anyone on that back end. Like this is a season from hell from them. To be fair, injury wise, but they were due for a year like this, injury wise. And it's more than that. Structurally, defensively, they just are not good. They're not playing a full 60 every night. They're going to end up firing the coach. This is probably the team that ends up firing the coach first.
Could Peter Bohr fix this? Because I'm just thinking like that. He's got to be the first guy hired, especially for.
You might get to the conference final.
Yeah. If you tell a Leafs fan that they're going to make the conference final at this rate, they would be
sign me up.
Yeah,
but oh God, this is just—it's not good. It's not good, and at the end of the day, they can't blame anyone but themselves. Like you said, they had their chance to really make some changes to this team. They made a lot of bets. I don't think a single bet is hit.
no.
Brandon Carlo is not the player that they thought they were trading for.
Trade, one of the worst. Like if they, because Fraser Minton has found a role in Boston, and if that is like a pick between 6 and 10, that's got to be one of the worst trades in recent memory. And it'd be one thing if Carlo was good for them, but I know again, 21-22 Hawks in a way that almost feels like a diet mini version of the Seth Jones trade. Does it not? There are some parallels.
The end result is definitely, except fucking Boquist didn't end up being good, but it's just not good. Michelli hasn't worked. Domi, they still play at center.
Steve Dangle loves that.
Robertson's finally started to click, and it doesn't matter. Tavares is having an insane year, and it doesn't matter.
And he took a pay cut.
Yeah, and he's my God. Stolar's coming back down to earth. He's hurt. They won't specify how long he's out. Wool, I think, looks okay since coming back. They have no prospects. They have no picks. They have no way of recouping those picks. And Matthews has like 3 more years before he walks. So 2 more years after this. He's up the same year as McDavid.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of that.
So
they'll probably extend anyways because the NHL is boring. But man, like if there was a player to walk, it would be Matthews, especially if the Leafs aren't good because he's been unconventional and not taking long-term contracts. I think.
Dude, there's a chance the team just has to ride it out this year. I really think they have to. I don't think there's a way you can fix this year. It's going to have to be an off-season thing, and I don't know how you fix it, but they're going to have to figure it out. I would try to like. There's got to be a world where the Oilers can take Domi. You know what I mean? Like, there's a world where you can make a trade like that work to get him off your books. You'd like to see Nick Wall healthy. You'd like to see Matthews healthy. I like what I've seen from Nyes. Michelli, I think that's a lost cause.
Yeah,
Maybe play him with an actual center, but what do I know? Cowan shown flashes, but that's probably your best trade asset, him or Danford. You probably don't want to
yeah.
trade either. I'd trade Danford, but Leaf
I
fans,
tried like
it's their one prospect, so they like him.
I think like I think they're in a more dire situation than the Oilers, but I just think like
Way more dire.
yeah, because
Oilers are going
I
away.
yeah the Leafs you just need to improve from within. Like you just gotta hope that their players figure it out, and I think maybe we talked about Austin Matthews. Man, I don't think he's been healthy for a couple of years now. And I feel they've just like kind of like how Patrick Kane was a few years back when he just wouldn't get surgery on his wrist. And it just feels like, and then when your franchise player isn't healthy, and then everything just falls out of whack. Like I know people are going to talk about Marner, and yeah, I think they do miss Marner, but I don't think goal scoring has been the problem. It's been the defensive structure and the goaltending for them.
Yeah, I think it's just their effort. Their effort's not there. They can't play a well-structured game, and at the end of the day, that's going to give you a combination of the 21-22 season and the 17-18 Blackhawks season, and that's not where any team wants to be ever.
Oh,
So,
oh.
because I see more 17-18 in them, but I see where you're coming from with the pick. That's
I think
definitely
it's a
true.
little bit of both. Yeah, it's a little
Yeah,
bit of both. Either way, not great
but
seasons.
I look at 17-18 as the year they lost two massive offensive pieces in Panarin and Hossa, and we were like, oh, we can recoup those points. Never
Nope.
recoup those
And
points.
then your goalie, and you had goalie issues.
Then
Nope.
your
And
goalie
then your
died.
star players, yeah, your goalie died. And then your star
And then one
players
of your
weren't
star
really your
players
star players.
fucking
Yeah.
fell off a cliff
Oh my
point
god.
wise. Then your other one fell off a cliff on the back end.
Yeah.
That year sucked. And this year sucks for the Leafs, and I don't think it's going to get any better. God, it's just like if it's really going to get that bad, do you shelf Matthews for the year? Can you even
I
afford to
think
do that?
they were talking on the Dangle podcast where I think Adam was like, I'll let Matthews play at the Olympics, but then shut him down. And even then, that's a risk because what if he gets hurt over there? I mean, regardless, he'll
Exactly.
be, if you shut him down or not, he's going to be out for the year. But man, that's not a conversation you should be having about your franchise player.
Nope. It's not a place you ever want to be with your franchise player.
Nope.
And at the end of the day, if the injuries are what's going to keep Matthews from breaking Ovi's record, it's going to be really tough because he's on pace to do it when he's healthy.
That's
And it's a
always been the
shame.
thing. Ovechkin has stayed healthy his entire career, but that's
Russian machine never
besides the point.
breaks.
Yes, sir. Now he's over 900 goals now. I don't think we talked about that, but I guess one last thing I wanted to say about the Leafs is that missing the playoffs is not the end of the world. Like I think of the 16-17 Lightning, were ravaged with injuries. They still almost made the playoffs, and funny enough, I think they were 1 point behind the Leafs for that final wild card spot when they made it in. But they still had like a pretty young team. They had guys like Braden Point come up, Anthony Cirelli, I think Mikhail Sergachev made in the lineup. I think Andrei Vasilevsky, that would have been like 17-18. That would have been their first full years of all those young guys that they've drafted. And obviously you still had Hedman, Stamkos, and Kucherov was a superstar at that point. And I think of the 21-22 Vegas Golden Knights, where, yeah, you missed the playoffs and not by a lot. And they came back next year and won the Stanley Cup. Lightning lost in the conference finals, and they've been on a great run since. But the Leafs are completely in a different position. Like, yeah, it'd be one thing that they missed the playoffs, but you don't have up and coming talent like that. Like even Vegas was like, okay, we now get a healthy Jack Eichel coming into the year, and Toronto, you don't really have much young players. Maybe Easton Cowan steps in. Do you expect Ben Danford to be anything? And you don't have first round picks for the next couple of years. So it'd be one thing if they didn't have a first round pick for this year and we're like, all right, we're just gonna eat shit this year, but we're gonna come back strong next year. But if they even get a top 5 pick this year, they don't have a first round pick for next year. So then you're pushing that back to 2027 and 2028 without first round picks. It's just internally the team has got to figure it out, because I don't know how they're going to improve otherwise. And then if you're selling off guys, you're basically rebuilding, and you just basically might just well sell everything, get a top 5 pick. I don't know. Not a Out of all the teams we talk about, which team is in the least like best position right now? Like, how would you rank it? Because I think, oh man, that's tough.
Nashville, Toronto,
Yeah.
Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton.
Best to least, or least to best?
Least
Like
worst is Nashville. I
Oh,
think
okay,
Edmonton's the easiest to fix. I think Toronto's in a worse spot than Calgary. At least Calgary has their pick.
Yeah, and they have like a pretty
assets to sell
record.
off. And they have assets to sell off, which I can't say this. Actually, yeah, I'm still going to do that because I think with the high-end talent Vancouver has, I think that's easier to fix than Calgary. So, that's my ranking. But Nashville and Toronto just neck and neck, worse than the worst.
I would agree. And I'm just kind of thinking of all those teams being interlocked. I would even throw, not that we've talked much about St. Louis, I would kind of throw them into that pack too. But I'm just kind of looking at the Puckpedias. I mean, can any of these teams make trades with each other? And I just see
Nashville, Toronto.
That. And I was thinking like, okay, what if like a Max Domi for Trent Frederick swap? I don't know if Toronto would do that. But
no.
Yeah.
That might send them to the shadow realm.
But I'm just thinking age-wise, because Max Domi is 30 and I think Frederick's 27. I don't know. I'm just looking at, okay, I swap my garbage for your garbage. Maybe change of scenery works out. I don't know. But yeah, I wonder who's going to be the first team to blink and make a trade, because I feel like we are due for one now. I think we're due for a head coach firing, and I could see, well, maybe not from Calgary, but I could see any of those other teams firing their head coach. But I think in the case of Toronto, I don't think firing your head coach is going to do anything. I just feel it's a lost cause, and I think the worst that they're going to finish like not bottom 10, but not in the top 5 to pick. So.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a near ending in sight in this one. Unless a goalie gets hot or Matthews comes back and starts scoring a goal a game again, I just don't see this changing.
No. And yeah, I don't really have anything further on that, but like, goddamn, like, yeah, we can maybe be down on the Blackhawks losing 3 in a row.
I'm not down on the Hawks. I'm not.
I've seen other people on Twitter being down on the Hawks, but I think is absolutely stupid right now. Like, yeah, they've lost 3 in a row, but man, we
probably be speaking a different tune like Saturday morning if we recorded when we were supposed to. Yeah. Probably would have been a little hotter after that 9-3 loss, but seeing how they responded to Colorado, I'm just taking it game by game, taking it week by week. I kind of look at it week by week with the Hawks. Like, who are they playing this week? What would be a good outcome? Like this week, if they can get 2 out of 3 wins this week against Minnesota, Nashville, and Anaheim, that's a win.
Dude, they gotta beat Nashville. If they lose to Nashville, that will be embarrassing.
Gave you the black jerseys too on Black Friday. Come on,
you can't, dude. You gotta win. Like in that Calgary game, like again, that I think this speaks to how much the attitude has shifted. I was going to be mad if they lost that game. You're up 2-0 on the Flames. You blew that lead. Thankfully, they won that game because if they lost that game, I might have been most pissed I've been after a loss in quite some time.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's the sign of the change in the culture, and you can see it on the
ice. And I expect them to win.
Yeah, we're back in that camp, and I haven't been in that camp since at least 2021. Man. Sorry, I want to go side note. Do we want my dad just sent me a text, Mr. Rumor Mill Man over here. He's like, rumor is Hawks are in on Hughes. I'm like, I've heard that rumor too from the fucking delusions, baby. No, there's no
The
way.
voices, the crack pipe. Okay, I was kind of thinking about that earlier. I would 100% make a trade for Quinn Hughes. Are you kidding me? Obviously, if a
Sam
con,
Renzel.
I would. So I love Sam Renzel. I would trade him in a heartbeat for Quinn Hughes. Like Quinn Hughes, to me, it's him and Kale McCarr. Like
Yeah.
some might even argue Quinn Hughes is better than Kale McCarr. I think Kale McCarr is the gold
I trade
standard,
both
but Quinn
first and
Hughes
Sam
is right
Renzel.
there. Oh,
And
easy.
one of Lard. I'd probably trade Lardis too.
Dude, I would
I
trade
want to keep
Oliver
against
Moore. I
Rob.
don't care. Quinn Hughes is that good to me, and they could, like we were talking about earlier, who's going to get 10 million plus? I would pay Quinn Hughes 12, 13 million
On the power
dollars.
play. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy shit. Finally get our Duncan Keith that I wanted in 2018. Fuckers.
Never. What's the
Took him
saying?
from
Never
us.
wrong, or never wrong, just early.
I
That's
think it would have broke me more though, because they were doing the draft video, and if I heard Bowman say they were going to pass on Hughes on video, that might have sent me into it. Like I would have lost it in 2018 if I heard those words come out of his mouth. Because I remember being like, Boquist, best player available. I'm like, holy shit! In hindsight, that sucks, but it
yeah,
made sense
especially
because
when
he was touted top 5 for a year and a half.
they're saying the next Derek Carlson, but yeah, unfortunately,
Notice how they
doesn't
stopped
look
making
as
that comparison.
yeah. And then it doesn't help that Bouchard and Dobson were taken right after that. That's always a
Bouchard
point
made
where I
so
look.
much sense for them. That was literally Seabrook.
Mm-hmm.
Go draft another Seabrook.
Could you? I think because I think of that as such like a turning point or like a what if in Hawks history. As if I think if they pick a Dobson or Bouchard, I don't think they trade for Seth Jones. But could you imagine this fan base having to watch Bouchard and
Oh, they would have already barked him out of town. He
yeah,
wouldn't be a Hawk anymore. He would have been traded. Bowman would have traded him for I don't even know. Something stupid.
because it's just all I think of with Artem Levshunov is Evan Bouchard, like in terms of he is a positive impact on the ice, and then he just makes one like decision a game. And you're like, what the fuck? How did you get into professional hockey? How did you get this far?
Listen, bro, he's just a vibes defenseman. You either like him or you
He
don't.
really is. Dude, he's got to score his first goal soon. He's so due.
Facts.
Anyways, oh, what's the time? Bet on nothing time. Adrian Kempe signed an 8-year extension with the Los Angeles Kings. You know that scene from Family Guy where Peter walks in the kitchen and it's just the lights are turned off and Chris is there and it's like that's NHL GMs in free agency right now. There is
There's
nothing.
nothing.
Thank you, son.
Dude,
In all
Nick
fairness,
Schmaltz is
they're
about to get
still
$9 million.
yeah. Nick
Crazy.
Schmaltz and Alex Tuck because I don't know if he wants to re-sign with Buffalo, but he might.
Oh,
I
don't worry.
don't know.
That 9 times 5 is coming any day now.
I don't know what really much there is to say on the extension, but yeah, it's if you're looking to improve
No
your
one
team, it's
leaves.
not going to be
Everyone's
done through free
comfortable.
agency. Mm-hmm.
It's a league where people don't bet on themselves, and I don't blame them. It's fully guaranteed contracts. Get your money. And Kempe is the whole offense in LA. So just he knows his worth.
Especially when it's the last year to get 8-year contracts. I think that's a big thing.
Cash out
Because
when you can.
yeah, we just like talking about the free agency. Yeah, you could get a higher AAV for like so like if let's say Marner went to free agency last year and you got like a 14 times 7, that would have been 98 million, but let's say 12 and a half over 8 years, that's $100 million. Like you're just going to want to take the most money, and I think that's why people don't go to free agency and take that extra year. And it's like and it's just like I don't ever want to talk about free agency until we get to the evening of or the day of free agency, because it feels like everyone is just going to re-sign with their respective teams.
Yeah, I don't look into any of this until the draft at minimum. Everyone extends. Everyone likes where they are, and they always find a way to make it work. Don't ever believe the smoke screens are crazy. That's all I'm going to say. Also, don't ever believe it's going to be the biggest blank ever of anything. Stop believing that a couple years ago.
Yeah. Bodes well for the Hawks, I guess. That I don't think Bedard's going anywhere. I think Saravalli was like, all right, you can get an 8-year contract anywhere between 12.5 million and $15 million. That really narrows it down. Anyways, yeah, kind of just going over some like final notes. I don't think Pavel Menchukov has formally requested a trade. I think it was more speculation from Freeman's end of, oh, might Anaheim move him because they already got Jackson Lacombe, who they gave a big pile of money to, and Owen Zellweger on their left side. And Menchukov hasn't really gotten the playing time there. And I think Brad Lambert formally did request a trade with Winnipeg. And then I think we saw some stuff about Andrei Svechnikov, and that was kind of seemingly refuted. Like he wasn't happy playing fourth line minutes, but it seems like it's okay now. But what are your thoughts on like a Minchukov or a Lambert trade? Like I don't think the Hawks. Not that I don't really care for the Hawks to get any of those guys, but maybe are there some matches across the NHL? Like is that a move? The five teams we talked about earlier make a move. Like is that a player they trade for? Like could maybe Toronto make a move? Like Nashville trades for Minchukov? I don't know. What do you think?
I could see
Could be
Toronto
some
trading for
fits.
Mitnikov or trying to find a way to at least. I mean, Anaheim's at a luxury where I think the Hawks are going to be in a couple of years, where they have a lot of defensemen that are NHL ready. They have a lot of guys who are ready to go, and Q likes his guys, and Mitnikov doesn't seem to be one of those guys. Ian Moore seems to be one of those guys, and his
Mm-hmm.
underlying numbers are really good right now for Anaheim. He's a former third round pick, so it's an embarrassment of riches, and I think a team like Toronto could take advantage of that. I don't know what that price tag would be per se.
If I'm
Um,
Anaheim, I would probably ask for Cowan. No, or maybe they look at Ben Danford.
fuck,
Could you imagine
I'm not
Danford on
doing
their?
that then.
Yeah. Could you imagine Danford
Danford,
on
I
their
would
right
maybe do.
side?
Yeah, Danford, I would maybe do, but I don't. I'm not trading Coward unless it's for a top six forward. And you're probably going to have to do that if you're trying to make the playoffs. But I think you trade Danford first of those two. And I just think if you get a Mitnikov and your left side is looking like, you have Riley, you have Ekman Larson, and then you have Mitnikov, and then you have McCabe move to the right, you have Tanev, like it, and Carlo, and then Benoit's your extra, like that helps. Um, in terms of like a Lambert, I think, sounds like something Vancouver would be all over, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. There's our
Um,
second line center. Yeah.
oh, but it'll be interesting because it's always that first domino that falls. We were talking about it earlier with it almost being a time for a big trade to occur. This is usually
Yeah.
around
We're
the time it
due.
happens. We're due. We're definitely due, and I'm curious to see what the first thing to do it. I think Anaheim's sitting really good right now. I don't think they see a reason to trade Mitnikov. I think they see it as a luxury, kind of like the Hawks are right now, where it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, we have 7 guys we can roll, and that's fine. Some
And
guys aren't
guys
going
in
to
the
play every
minors
night.
too.
Exactly. And Lambert, I think it's just that Winnipeg's development has sucked since Kyle Connor. So, and
Yeah.
Josh Morrissey. Like that's the last couple of prospects they developed. Gabe Velarde was already kind of developed by the time he got
Yeah.
there.
It was.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't really look at Winnipeg as a team that's developing prospects over the last couple of years. I thought Lambert was going to be a great fit there. Clearly, they
Oh,
aren't
I
giving
did
him the
too, man.
opportunity.
I wanted the Hawks to draft him at 25, but I think they made the right call there.
Yeah,
In
the guy's pretty.
2022, that is.
Guy's going to get us Quinn Hughes, so he's pretty good. But oh god, I just I'm curious to see who gets traded first out of that crop of young players because I think a team like a St. Louis can do something with that.
That
Like,
seems like a St. Louis move. Yeah, a Doug Armstrong move. Then
yeah,
that's another team to watch out for trades, I think.
mm-hmm. I here's another one. Don't sleep on. I could see Tampa being all over Mitnikov. Um,
Ooh, yeah,
Weaker on the
yeah.
back end on the left side.
Uh-huh.
Outside of Moser, McDonough's getting older. Lilleberg sucks, so that'd be a nice change. Um, but I don't know. There's a couple names to look out there. I think Mitnikov's the most intriguing though, because that's someone who, if he gets to the right spot, people forget he was as a 19-year-old. He came into
He
the
was
league and just
great.
lit it on fire.
Yeah.
And I blame a little bit of that on Greg Cronin for his deployment of him afterwards. And you can really shatter a young D man's confidence if you're not consistent with their deployment. And just leaving him to the Wolves to die. It took Korchinski 2 years to get back on track after his 19-year-old season. So Kid's still 21. I'd take a risk on him. The Hawks are just, they got a luxury of defense right now. Unless it's, a huge defenseman, it's not happening.
It's interesting kind of to go back to the 2022 class because both of Mintyukov and Lambert were from there and kind of see how it's played out. Like, especially the defenseman. Like, I just look at Logan Cooley. I'm so happy that I was so spot on with him being a superstar, not to jerk myself off again. But, and like, same with Frank Nazar as well. But you look at the defenseman from that class, like, Nemec has finally figured it out with New Jersey getting a hat trick against the Hawks. But then you look after that, Juracek, he was traded from Columbus, and I don't think he's been a regular with the Wild. Korchinski is still in Rockford, even though he's doing well right now. I think he's like almost an assist per game. I don't think he has a goal though. And then Mintyukov, and then I think the next one after that is Denton Matejchuk, who I think he's doing well with Columbus right now. But yeah, it's kind of just like interesting to look back at that draft class a few years later and seeing some of the hits and how the Blackhawks have been more on the right side of that with Frank Nazar, because I remember I was like, oh, maybe Kamel would be a good pick, maybe Lekaramaki, and with that 25 pick, them getting Sam Renzel, and yeah, Ludwinski hasn't been great at 39. It sucks he's injured,
Green's a player,
but
though.
like Ryan Green is a great pick. The fact you got a guy who's playing your top six, though I don't think he should be, but that's definitely a guy that could be in your bottom six going forward and being a trusted guy, like defensive guy.
He's a player. There's no denying that.
Mm-hmm.
He should be playing every night. I just think he's more beneficial in the bottom six, but he does have chemistry with Bedard. The playmaking ability is there. The vision's there. The finishing's not there, and that showed
I
against
just don't think
Colorado.
he's not going to be a goal scorer. Like he's maybe
No,
he
he's
gets
going to
10
be
one day.
no, he's going to be
Yeah.
their David Camp, and he's going to be a really good David Camp. He's going to be their Marcus Kruger. Like that's not the end of the world. They're gonna be fine at center. Center is not my worry with the Blackhawks right now. It's just filling out the wings.
It's the
and who's
fucking
gonna fill
wings,
out
bro.
those wings?
Yeah.
Birds when they can't fly.
Worms when they're trying to defend themselves early in the morning.
Oh
It's
God,
the wings, bro. Also, side note: the only game in the it's so stupid. Like the NHL scheduling is so bad because there's one game tonight. The Stars are beating the Oilers 8-0 right now in the first period. Then there's I think 15 games tomorrow, and then there's no games on American Thanksgiving, which like I get because there's gonna be football, right? But you can't even put a couple games on, and then they're gonna load it again on the Friday.
Well, they've been trying to make Black Friday like their thing, so I get that, and you want to have everyone not well rested for that game. So I kind of get what they're doing with the scheduling, but yeah, there should have been like 3 games tonight at least, not just a 9 o'clock puck drop.
Yeah,
but it should be interesting. Next 2 games for the Hawks, you got Wild at home and you got Predators at home. Let's make that count, and Ducks at home. I'm pretty sure. So they're at home all week. Let's get it done. Let's get some points. Let's beat this goaltending for Minnesota that's been on a fucking hot streak of a lifetime.
Dude, I chose the wrong Swedish goalie for the Vesna. It should have been Wallstedt. Damn it. Monkey paw, like yeah, all 3 home games against the Wild, and then the Preds and the Ducks on Sunday. What are we thinking? How do we think the week goes out? I'm gonna say
2-1.
I'll say 1-1-1 as like a cop out.
2-1. I think we're gonna beat the Wild. I think we're gonna beat the Wild and the Predators. I think they're gonna lose to the Ducks. I think the Ducks are gonna find a way the second time. But I think the Hawks are gonna beat the Wild tomorrow. I think they're gonna have one of their better performances of the year. 2 days off. They're rested. They had 4 games in 6 nights before that. I think they're gonna have a really good performance. They usually get off rest this year, like this much rest.
I would love that. I feel if they do win, it's going to be like a 2-1 win in overtime with like a Bedard overtime goal. I think that's how it would go.
Agreed.
But
I don't think it's going to be high. If it's high scoring, that's not going to benefit them. I can't imagine.
Yeah. I think they lose to the Wild, beat the Preds, and lose to the Ducks in overtime.
Killing myself.
I would love for them to be 2-1.
Oh, and then next week's the weird part of their schedule where they literally play 2 games in 3 nights in LA. They play LA twice, back to back, like in 3 days. They get to go to
Yeah,
Disney World on a day
Vegas.
off. Get excited.
Yeah. Yeah, so they play Vegas the next Tuesday, then they they go to LA on December 4th. They have the 5th off, and then on the 6th, they play the Kings again in LA. Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
weird.
weird? Like we're back in 2021. Welcome back. The
Oh my
2 game
god, yeah.
stints. I kind of like the 2 game stint though. It's interesting because then you don't have to go back for the rest of the year, and that's a
Yeah,
long trip too.
and I think even like, and then they go on the 7th on that Sunday. Then they play the Ducks in Anaheim. Not that that's really much travel. It's like a half an hour or whatever. But yeah,
3 and 4, but you're
interesting.
staying in the area, so that helps.
Yeah,
Same hotel probably, which is good.
yeah, and even like Vegas is not far away, so like you're not doing a lot of traveling there, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, like the last road trip, they were all over the place. Like they were.
I think it was their
Like
longest road trip
it's
in
their
like
longest of the year earlier this year. It
yeah,
definitely was.
yeah. No, I mean like in like a decade. Like I think it's been a while. Like I think since like
Oh,
16, 17, it was their longest like road trip. Like it's been a while since they've been on the road that long.
yeah, but they went all over the place on that trip. So
Yeah. They were everywhere, men. Kind of some last final notes before we wrap this up because we've reached already over 2 hours. Feels like there's more injuries than usual and more like weird freak injuries. We talked about the Jack Hughes one earlier. Another one that stood out to me was Ito Luostarinen. What was it? Barbecue related injuries. Like he got hurt at the cookout. I hate when this happens at the cookout. Gets injured for maybe a month. I don't know. And then like I just wrote a bunch of names in the notes. Like Thomas Harley is out. Drew Doughty. Surprise, surprise. Kirby Dack is hurt again. I think Connor Hellebuck's going to be out for, I think 4 to 6 weeks. They were
6
saying
weeks.
something with his knee. When knee surgery.
McAvoy's out.
Yeah, McAvoy and Alex Romanoff. I'm pretty sure is out for the rest of the year, 5 to 6 months after he got that play with Rantanen. But yeah, it feels like there's more injuries than usual.
Yeah, I mean Mark Stone's hurt too. Like there's
must be a day that ends in Y. They're gonna put him on the yeah.
Yeah, same with Matthews in that case. There's just a lot of injuries going around the league right now, and I think it comes down to conditioning at the end of the day, hopefully. But I mean, like you said, it's a lot of freak-ins, and it's like McAvoy got hit in the face of the puck. Like,
Yeah,
it's just a lot of unfortunate hit with the Rantanen hit on Romanoff. Like, it's just a lot of freak accidents.
like I think that was more of an accident than when he hit who was it on
Coronado
Calgary.
was way worse.
Yeah,
like,
that one was
he
dirty.
just lined
Yeah,
up.
right in the numbers. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and another thing about Calgary. So Samuel Honzek, who was their first round pick in 2023, he's out for the rest of the year too as well. And he was supposed to go to Slovakia. Like he might have made Team Slovakia. So yeah, just to add insult to injury with the Flames, literally.
Not great, Bob.
No, do you have any closing thoughts, or we can wrap this podcast up? We've gone for over a couple hours now, but I think we have touched on everything we wanted to in pretty good detail, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't have much to add.
What any plans for Thanksgiving? You said you're going to Disney World, right?
Yeah, so we're going to Disney World for Thanksgiving, and then we're here to celebrate Thanksgiving Sunday. The Bears play Friday,
I was
so
gonna
that
ask
should
that.
be fun.
The Bears have been doing very well. Do you have any thoughts on them? Like any other thoughts to add on them?
This is the time of the year where it matters. They're 8-3. They've won the games against the people they're supposed to beat. Schedule gets tough here. You literally, I think, if you go 500 the rest of the way, you make the playoffs. I have more faith in this team week by week. They're better in close games. Their run game's great. Their defense is getting healthier. It's not going to be a team you want to face down the stretch, that's for sure. And I think they're catching a lot of teams at the right time. Philly's kind of stumbling. Green Bay's, I don't.
Didn't
like,
the
their
Cowboys beat
good.
them? The Eagles?
Yep, Cowboys beat them. The Niners, the Niners are banged up just like the Bears, and the Lions are kind of figuring it out. So, yeah, the schedule's tough, but I don't know. I trust them against anyone right now. And I wouldn't have said that week 2 after they lost by 30 to the Lions. So,
to 9.
credit to the coaching.
Wait, no, that was another loss.
Oh, they lost to him too, which is they beat him the second time, but Yeah, they've blown my expectations away. I think I have them at 10-7 this year at best, 9-8, and next win they get to 9 wins. It's their first most wins in a season since 2020,
Yeah.
and this is their best record through 11 games since 2018. So
Oh,
it's
damn.
fun times in Chicago right now, and this is kind of house money. This was kind of expected next year, not this year. So credit to the coaching because the coaching's just been phenomenal. And Ben Johnson's probably not going to win Coach of the Year. Probably go to Mike Vrabel, or Shane Steichen, but he's completely turned the culture around here in the matter of a season. And it's really incredible to watch.
Yeah, they're kind of like a more like steroid version of the Hawks, or maybe the Hawks are just more like a diet version of the Bears. But yeah, just
That's
kind of
more.
looking. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it doesn't feel like the worst time in Chicago sports right now. Like I don't know if the Bulls are good, but and I mean the White Sox.
Bulls are what the Bulls are always, which is mid.
Yeah,
So
White Sox and
also,
Cubs. That's maybe another matter, but yeah,
but
Bears and Hawks are doing well.
at the end of the day, Chicago's a Bears town through and through. You can ask anyone, biggest Hawks fan, biggest White Sox fan, biggest Cubs fan, biggest Bulls fan, they'll all tell you it's a Bears town. And the city's better when the Bears are good. The NFL's better when the Bears are good. That's not even me being biased. Also, shout out Edmonton, already losing 4-0 in the first period.
Yeah, I
Great
know. I was
job,
just
guys.
gonna bring
4
that
goals,
up.
8
It's at
shots.
the intermission.
Jake
Yeah.
Ottinger, already pulled. It's good stuff. Just kidding, not Jake Ottinger. Who's their goalie? Fuck.
Oh, maybe if it was the conference finals, yeah.
Stu Skins is still in the net, but like I said, they need to get rid of him ASAP.
One of
Saros.
them. You can keep one of them, not both. Yeah.
Fucking rabbit meme.
Mm-hmm.
Time's
Yes,
running
sir.
out.
Yeah, the clock is ticking now. Yeah, man, it's gonna be Christmas and New Year's, and then like soon you know
When
it's
I
gonna
get
be the
my clock to
Olympics.
work.
Yeah, real. Um, I I wonder if there's gonna be like a mini trade deadline before the Olympics, kind of like there was last year with the Four Nations, because there was the Rantanen trade, like three-way trade, and then I think Dallas traded for Grano and Cece. I wonder if we'll get more of that going into the Olympics. But I guess we'll wait and see. We're still waiting for the first domino to fall. Who's going to fire their first head coach? Like, who's going to be the first to make a transaction or a change that's not contract extension? I guess we'll find out soon. So, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platforms, whatever that may be. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. So for Pierce and Dylan, take it easy, y'all, and we will talk another time.